And we're live. That was smooth.
Hello.
I saw that.
Welcome to the 8th episode of What is Happening There? Never mind. Hey, welcome to the 8th episode of the FUNCAST.
The stupid gif of the day, if that's what you're talking about, is some dude on Reddit that made a sweet, movable, automatic monitor mount thing that pops out of his desk.
I love it.
I need to see this. Let's load this.
I love how sped up it is. Like you can see, it's running at like 300x speed because it probably takes forever.
But cool.
Oh, that thing is. I feel like that's
cool.
that's a really good way to accidentally break all of your monitors.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Also disappointed that he has to manually open like a little cabinet door. That he couldn't just automate that as well.
No, just a gentle slope on the underside.
I mean, yeah, really, that's all I need.
I'm sure you can hear it.
That's funny.
Oh, God. Like, so a couple days ago, I accidentally almost flipped my standing desk while getting it to stand up.
Oops.
Because the power supply for my TV was like, I was rearranging it, so I left it out, and it got stuck between the desk and the frame around my window. And like it started pushing and like levering the desk out because it was stuck on the the outside edge.
Okay,
so that was fun.
That could have been
Sony.
silly.
Oh, okay. I thought something horrible happened.
No, it was fine. I noticed Sony TV power supplies apparently real good wedges.
Stronger than the desk. Yeah, I'm surprised it just pulled the TV down.
Think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute.
But yeah, so as we usually do in our little podcast here, we talk about what we played over the week because we play so many games here.
Too many games.
I didn't play very many games this week.
But you played one that I haven't played and that I'm interested to hear more about, even though I heard you didn't have a great time with it. Want us to tell us what it was?
Are we just gonna jump right into that? Okay. This week I played a game called The Flame and the Flood. It was free.
That's right, I forgot. Where was it free? It was free on
Humble Bundle. It was just given out for free earlier this week.
But only for a limited time or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just limited.
I think at one point in the past it was free through Twitch Prime. So I think I own it, and I'm not sure why.
I think I have a ton of free games through Twitch Prime, but I've never launched the Twitch app, so
yeah.
This game has been on my wish list on the Switch for a while because it looked real interesting. I was kind of hoping to play it there just because I like playing everything on the go with the flexibility of docking it on a TV or playing it on the toilet. But
it was
free, and I can't argue with free.
Sure.
So played The Flame and the Flood. My first impressions of the game, I started off, I just ran around a little bit. I was like, this is kind of a cool game. You got to pick stuff up and craft and do stuff.
This looks completely different than what I thought it looked like.
Yeah, it's a really cool art style, but
kind of gave me Don't Starve vibes. And so after you run through the short tutorial area, you hop in your raft and you start rafting down the river, and that's the heart of the game. Is you're going down a river, stopping at different points to explore, and your end goal is somewhere at the end of the river. You're following a radio signal that my first experience with the game, I hopped on the raft and I made it to the first stop, and all these stops are procedurally generated, so it's very roguelike in that sense. I landed on an island. I found one box of just like random loot and a bunch of boars. It turns out boars are violent.
Yes.
And I got gored to death by a bunch of boars trying to figure out how to defend myself because the game did not explain in any way what I'm supposed to do about that. After I died a humiliating death, I had to go onto like the Steam forums and be like, how do I attack?
How do I fight boars?
And everybody's like, no. It's not one of those kind of survival games. It's the kind where you can't attack. So you gotta like build shit like traps and snares and wave your stick to try to scare them away.
In between stops when you're on the raft, do you like do anything or do you just hang out?
The raft is interactable. Let's see. I skipped to a part in the video here so you guys can see.
Okay.
It's
for-
more like a world map. It's like very like
Oh,
fast
okay.
yeah,
and
it's
like
so-
sort of just going downstream.
I
So
would
have you ever
compare it-
played
it
Death
is.
Road to Canada?
Yes, and actually that's funny. I was
yeah,
gonna
I heard
compare it
that,
to like
yeah.
Oregon
Okay.
Trail. Like this
Okay,
is
yeah.
just traveling
See,
the trail.
I didn't realize this game had stops. I thought it was entirely the raft.
Nope.
Oh,
I thought it was a
no.
completely different game because all I've ever seen was this rafting stuff.
So
Right.
yeah, in between the stops, you're on this raft and you can steer it. You can kind of like use a sprint button to jostle it left and right to dodge stuff. And
It's very thematic music.
sometimes
I remember
you
correctly.
row past junk, and if you get close to the land and grab it real quick, you can get loot or whatever. As somebody just demonstrated in this video as well, crashing the boat into a landmass, the character now has
Real
a broken
bad.
bone.
Oh.
So that was one of the first things that happened when I started getting gored by a
Oh,
boar.
jeez, you
I
get
started-
tossed.
I started
Yeah.
breaking every bone in my body, and my character was limping so slow, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do? It was so sad.
Oh,
How do I get away?
Yeah, it's
this is
I
like
don't-
the long night as well, where it's just, oh, sorry, you cut yourself and now you're fucked forever because you can't find medicine for the infection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at one point, I had broken like 5 or 6 bones, and I found one splint in that one box I found. So I was like, cool, I'm just gonna splint up my bones. I splinted up one of the 5 broken bones, and I was still limping around.
Did you get to choose, or was it just like
No, I mean
they're just generic?
they're just generic. It's just
Okay.
your bone stat is -5. I don't know.
Character fixed up their thumb, but left their leg.
Lacking bones.
I like the idea. Like I said, it gave me Don't Starve vibes, and I really liked that game. So I want to get back into it and play it a little bit more when I have the time. I just
Just
probably
because
Seems very-
Frothy gave it a better review.
well,
that you want
I
to give
mean,
it another shot.
partially. I knew that it was like a roguelike, and I probably wasn't gonna make it on the first try. It was just really disappointing. I died on the first stop.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
In like the beta of similar survival game, well, similar. Their survival games are all fairly similar. The Long Night, just like winter survival.
Oh yeah, I wanted to
Oh, the
play
long-
that too.
That game's really
Dark.
cool. I haven't played it since it came out of early access.
I
But
remember
like, I got kicked by a deer and died. So like 20 minutes into the game, it's like, oh, I was like, oh look, a deer, and it ran up and like kicked me, and I died from like the injury.
no dear, you're
Ow.
supposed to run from me.
yeah, that's what like I've got.
That
This,
game also has like really aggressive wolves that are scary because it's like, well, I have a bow with 2 arrows and I have a flare, and I better hope this flare keeps these wolves away from me while I walk back to shelter.
yeah. So like one thing they did teach you in the short tutorial section is how to wave your stick to scare crows away, which I don't know why crows would be an issue. So when
I
I,
don't know if
got
you-
to the boar, I was like, oh, am I supposed to just like swing my stick around and scare him away?
No, yeah.
No, they just run right into you and break every bone in your body.
If you've ever read The Wheel of Time, you'll know crows are scary. There's a scene in the early book where a flock of crows, they're looking for 2 of the main characters because they're all spies for the evil dude,
Mhm.
and they're hunting. As they're hunting the main characters, they're just like swooping through the countryside, just like, oh hey, here's a fox. Let's all playfully murder this fox and like pull it to pieces and just leave it. It's
I don't even know if crows do anything in Flame in the Flood. They probably steal stuff.
probably
Maybe.
I watched Markiplier or something like that play it. That's how I interact with most games. I watch someone else play it briefly.
That's fair.
And I remember he liked it, but like you said, I don't remember running into boars for at least a little while. So it's not like
I think I just
the
got a really
first
bad
island.
seed.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
need to stop at Boar Island.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't there like a little warning about islands when you stop at them, or maybe not? I
No,
don't
it's
remember.
just you stop at them, and when you run ashore, it is what you get what you get.
There's no info about it when you land. Let's see.
Nope.
And Weeks Glen. And then yeah. well, there you go.
Weeks Glen, apparently home of cattails.
Yeah, well, that's nice, I guess.
So other than
those are
Flame in the
for-
Flood,
Other than
there
Flame in
was
the
a game
Flood.
you could play on the toilet this week, right?
Yes, and I did lots. I decided to keep progressing my master mode file on Zelda because that game is real fun, and I accidentally got sucked into it a second time, bringing my total
good
play
game.
time
Oh,
up
darn.
to 225 hours in the game.
What a shame.
Uh,
Accidentally having to play more Zelda.
I beat all of master mode. I did everything. I got all the
Wow.
shrines. I'm
120 shrines, nice.
128, including all the DLC ones.
Got your
That's really cool.
Your sick motorcycle.
Or 24. Yeah. And then getting the motorcycle and driving that around. The only thing I have not done yet in master mode is the master sword trial things, because those were hard enough the first time. I can't imagine doing it with regenerating enemies, and I haven't grown the balls to even attempt it yet.
How long is
Right.
the Master Sword Trials? It's 100 or something?
It's
or 25?
it's split into 3 parts, and I think each one is like anywhere between 20 or 40 stages. Yeah, and you go into it naked. You get absolutely no weapons or items. So the first room, you gotta like pick up sticks and fight people, or abuse the bomb item is the best way to do it.
Yes, the best item in the game.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
surprised how much I went back to using the bomb in my playthrough of Zelda. Like you get to a point where like, oh, all these weapons are great, everything's great, and then the enemies level up, and it's like, oh, my weapons suck.
Oh
I
man.
need to use the bombs more and just ragdoll people off of cliffs. And
Yep. Playing through the game again on hard mode, definitely I was thinking a lot more with environmental tactics than I was before, because fighting things head on is just a waste of resources and time, and it sucks because you could die real easy. So a lot of times I just actually use the game mechanics to sneak around things, or to, like you said, bomb people to knock them off of cliffs and stuff.
Yep.
Actually,
Yeah,
really fun. I highly recommend playing the game in master mode. It breathes
I
new
do
life into the
want to
game.
revisit the game because I really, really enjoyed it the first time I played it. But my problem with games like these is I have to burn through them in like as few sittings as possible, because that's just how I play games. If I don't beat it in 3 sittings, I'll never play it again. I still need to pick back up Nino Kuni. I just don't know if I ever will.
So I guess that I know that feeling. I've done that with a fair share of games where it's like, man, I'm way into this for like 2 days, and then I don't play it the 3rd day, and then you never touch it again.
I
Yep.
know, it's rough.
I too have tried to play Divinity Original Sin 2,
In 3 days.
and it took 2 days to get off the tutorial island, and then I just
Ugh.
kind of stopped playing and forgot about it.
I mean, to be fair, that tutorial island is really good.
There's so much to do.
There's so much stuff on it. Then, like, I don't even remember.
Nope. If we go
beginning
back
of
to
the
finish our
next
game
X.
file, we're probably gonna have to start over again.
I mean, like, I think we saved just as we encountered the pigs in the forest. Like, we didn't even get I don't even think we got the town outside the walls.
No, I don't think we did. I'm trying to remember where we stopped. Huh, we should get Super Pirate and play that again.
Yeah. Fine,
Anyways,
Super Pirate. Anyway, yeah.
That's pretty much
Speaking
all I
of
did.
long
Pirates.
RPGs that will never be finished in 3 sittings, Android. You've played some things this week.
Whoa, me going second? This is crazy. Speaking of RPGs, to our one viewer, Electric Mastro, who I'm not sure is a FUN-GINEER. I'll just assume it's a new person. So welcome, new person, to our to the FUNCAST. But yeah, I've been playing Pillars of Eternity, which is a PC game, not on the Switch, unfortunately, yet. But someday it will be, and then Burnout will play it again.
You playing the first game?
Yeah, Pillars of Eternity 1.
Oh, hold on. I pulled
Yep,
up footage for
'cause-
Pillars 2.
Because I started playing it, and you noticed I was playing it.
Yes. So
Yeah.
There's a bit of a small story there. It's just that I saw a discount playing Pillars 2, and I was like, this looks really cool. I haven't played Baldur's Gate really, or Neverwinter Nights, or Sin Divinity, whatever. They're all sort of similar, right? And I was like, oh man, I really want to like play one of these, get into it. And I was like looking it up, and people are like, oh, you should really play Pillars 1 because the Pillars 2 is a direct sequel, and like you're playing as the same character in the same world. So I was like, all right, well, how much is Pillars 1? It's like $30, and I put it in my Steam cart. I went to go buy it, and Steam was like, you already own this game. And I was like, what? Wait,
I
what?
hate it when that happens.
So I went to my Steam list, And I've been a subscriber to the Humble Monthly Bundle, which I recommend to anyone if they just want to amass a giant amount of games.
And forget that you own them.
Oh, if I want
it's-
to add to my pile of games I don't know I own.
It's $12 a month, and you get 7 games. And sometimes you get games like Tomb Raider, like the new one. It was just in that Humble Bundle monthly. And I have a bunch of other random stuff, like Pillars of Eternity. So I launched that, and I started playing it. It's really cool. It's like playing D&D, but, you know, it's not quite D&D because it's single player, and the story is very set. So in these sort of games, I do feel confined by the choices. I know, like in other games, people like in Skyrim, I really do feel more like I can just wander away and ignore everything. But in this game, it feels more path-like.
Not to like incidentally spoil, but like you can, like the main line is set much like in a Skyrim, but like you can kind of just do anything.
No, I get that I could. I just don't feel that pull. Like in Skyrim, when you first start, there's stuff that's like, this is a big mountain, and you're like, what's that mountain? Like, this game doesn't have that,
there.
like, yeah.
See that mountain? You can climb it.
Oh, yeah, and Losan was saying, that's a good point. This game has a lot of reading. I actually do like reading in games, because I can read pretty quick. So
there's a lot of it.
But there's a lot of
There's
text.
a lot.
There's a lot of books. There's a lot of characters talking. There's a lot of backstory.
There's too many. It's like Skyrim with the books, where it's like, I'm sure these are very interesting and full of great lore, but I'm never gonna read this.
I know, it was like history of the Deerwood War, Volume 1. And I was like, oh god.
Oh no.
I'm glad you nailed the pronunciation of the Deerwood, because until I started playing Pillars 2, I was calling it the Direwood.
Yeah, but
It's DYR.
Yeah.
That's what I would have pronounced it as. Oops.
Apparently, his
Well, they
name is
pronounce
Eater,
it-
not Eater.
they pronounce it in the thing. I don't know Eater's name. I can't remember
Eater.
how it's pronounced. Eater.
One of it's such a weird it's Matt Mercer who voices like a billion people in a billion things, but like you can kind of tell it's Matt Mercer, and like it's not an extravagant voice role, but he does such a good job with this character because Ader is just like, he's just a dude. Like he's not special or anything. He's just like a fighter that like you find, and he's just a super normal dude. Like is a veteran of a war he didn't really want to fight in, and is just kind of normal. Likes animals a lot. Tries to pet animals, even when they bite him. Great, he's great.
When they bite him. Do any of the companions come back in Pillars 2?
Yes, 3 of them.
Oh, cool. All right.
And yeah, Ader. I don't know if you've met him yet. Aloth the wizard.
I have, yeah.
Okay.
He died actually. I had to reload a save because he died. And I was real sad because I didn't realize how easy it was for people to die.
Yes.
Because it tricks you into thinking that people are like indestructible, and then all of a
with
sudden,
the stamina and separate stamina and health, like combat stuff. Yeah.
Oh, did he just die in combat?
sort of. So when you have these 2 health meters, you have endurance and health, and every time you take damage to both. Your endurance is like 100 or something, and that restores every fight, but your health just goes down forever until it reaches 0.
And your health
If
is like 300
0,
or something.
and if your health reaches 0, you just die. So you can only take that much damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
But oh man. So Aloth returns. Then there's a character you meet later when you get to the main city that shows up in 2 as well. And then, God. So it's fun because having Aloth and Ader in your party, they're both voiced by Matt Mercer, and they're both completely differently sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just listen to him talk
Aloth the
himself.
wizard,
Talk
has
to
like
himself.
a split personality. So sometimes
Yeah, that part's still weird to me.
it's
I don't know how I feel
Scottish
about that.
Matt Mercer talking
Yeah.
to uppity English Matt Mercer talking to like Southern Matt Mercer. It's really good.
Oh my god. So, but yeah, it's really cool so far. I've gotten far enough that I have a stronghold now, I guess you
Mhm.
get, and it's like it's a significant enough part of the game that it's actually part of your like UI that you visit your stronghold
Yes, just
whenever.
hit the stronghold button.
Yeah, it's like before you have the stronghold, you click it, and it's just like you don't have a stronghold yet. I'm like, why is this button? You can even see it on the screen. See that button on the bottom middle?
Yeah,
Bottom
the
right? It's
gate.
just this little gate. It's like you just It's there from the very beginning. Most games would add it later. You know,
In a
This
lot of
game's
ways,
just
you
like,
can tell
oh,
Pillars
there's
of
a stronghold
Eternity.
coming.
In a lot of ways, you can tell Pillars of Eternity 1 is both an Obsidian game and a Kickstarted game.
Yes, there's a lot of
There's a lot of rough edges.
Yes.
there is a lot of rough edges. That's why Pillars 2 sounds even cooler.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
But so other than that, I've been continuing to play God of War. God of War continues to be great. I had some conflict with it originally just because of the harder difficulty, but I reduced it. The game I died once more since then. But the game is just really engaging. Like I really love the story. I like to play it with my girlfriend and we just watch it and we Kratos is all rough and angry all the time.
How's the boy doing?
Boy is fine. Boy got real moody, and it was really funny. He was like,
Great.
there's this part where you have to pick up these crystals to put them in pedestals to solve puzzles. And there's this one you have to take to multiple pedestals. And the second time you pick it up, he's like, "You just take that thing everywhere, don't you?" And he's like, "Maybe I will." I'm like, it's like, this is great.
That's real good.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So they just have this great interactions all the time, and this character here, Sindri, he's great. So just anyone Kratos interacts with is very entertaining.
I can imagine because
Sindri's a neat freak, and he's like, "Why don't you move the axe for me?" And Kratos is like, "No,"
because Kratos is kind of like the ultimate straight man.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, it's really good so far. The characters are great. I just watched the Zero Punctuation on this, and he slammed it. And I was surprised because it seems to be
people
doing
that are
really well.
Not super happy with it, but
his complaint was that he feels like they diverged too much from the original Gods of War, where they're trying to
that seems to be
audience.
the main complaint I've heard.
But I just feel like what worked for God of War 1 and 2 was then,
it worked real well on the PS2.
Yeah, I just feel like the ultra hyper violence stuff is I don't know. I don't think it's good enough.
And I think it's totally fine. You had 4 games that had the same gameplay. It's okay at this point to take an IP in a different direction.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
There was 3 console God of Wars and 2 on the PSP, I think.
Yeah, there
God
was
of War
some,
Ascension. It was a multiplayer thing.
Yeah, there was not, but they're non-core titles or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
They don't relate
there
to
were
the
2
main
on the
story.
PSP.
They take place in between or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I think one was a prequel, the PSP one.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's actually I think I played the most of the PSP version.
I think the game's really cool. I think the whole leveling system, which is in the video right now, is goofy. There's also this crafting system, totally unnecessary. All these stats, super unnecessary. They don't amount to anything. The leveling doesn't really amount to anything. I'm not really sure what their goal was. It's they were we have to add it,
Yeah, they had a similar system in Horizon Zero Dawn, and that did real good. So people must like leveling systems and crafting fur armor.
That was Yahtzee's big complaint. I agree a bit where all AAA games do this now. All AAA games have exploration,
inventory,
all
and
AAA games have crafting.
Yeah.
Games, and it's
kind of like how every game from mid to late PS2 into the 360 had an RPG system, like a skill tree.
Yeah,
every single one.
Skill trees they're back in this game.
They started with
I haven't seen a skill tree in a bit.
Those really good PS2, GameCube, Lord of the Rings games.
Oh yeah,
they had the RPG light system where you level up and stuff.
I liked those games.
And every game had that same system.
I completely forgot about those. I really like.
Yeah, it's like the pitch for the first Borderlands was it's a shooter with an RPG elements like Diablo.
Mm-hmm.
That was the pitch. It's a shooter with RPG elements. That was the whole
thing.
That was the start of your pitch.
So I haven't beat it yet. I'm going to keep playing. I think I'm a third or halfway through, probably halfway. The whole point is you're trying to get to this tall mountain to spread your dead wife's ashes, your son's mother's ashes, And that's not a spoiler because that's just how the game starts.
Mhm.
And let's just say I finally got there, and now the story is continuing. So you know, it's just more game now, but I don't know how close I am to the end.
There's more game, oh boy.
Boy.
And then lastly, last week I was able to check out the new Stardew Valley multiplayer, which I'm super hyped about because I love Stardew Valley. It is such
It sounds
a good
cool.
game.
Yes, tell me about the multiplayer because I want to play it.
So the way it works is there's two ways. You can take your pre-made farm and share it with multiple people by inviting them onto your farm, or you can create a new farm and just have it start with that many other players. The starting's a little goofy for the players that join because you miss out on the intro, all the intro stuff. Like you don't get to see the mayor, you don't get to see the like moving to the farm. So I think
You
it's
get
a
to miss all the tedious opening game stuff.
Well, you
Oh.
still have to visit everyone in town.
Oh fuck!
Oh, you gotta do all that first?
God damn it!
I thought you meant it was just skipping the working at Business Corp and the
Yeah, it
mini
just
game
skips
of
that.
opening your drawer. And
Yeah,
looking
it
at your
just skips
letter.
that.
Man.
It just skips that, so you still have to go visit everyone. And that's actually what's kind of cool is everyone's quests aren't
everybody
shared.
has their own town basically.
Well, you're still talking to all the people, but all your relationships are stored
Yeah.
individually. The reason why it's not like Farmville, Low Sound, is because Farmville's a time management game, and this is more of a like activity. What's
It's
it
Animal
called?
Crossing with stuff to do when you've done your daily stuff because you can go to sleep and start a new day.
It's more like activity theme park, like MMOs style, where they do theme park design now, where it's like there's 5 different things you can do, and you can level in each one individually, and you don't have to stick to one. You can just jump around, and maybe today you want to fish, and you leveled up fishing, or maybe you want to go into the mines, and you leveled up mining, or you fight monsters, and you leveled up fighting monsters. And then there's a town to like center it all back to something. Like you're trying to build relationships with this town. You're trying to
Marry
build
your
up
waifu.
farm. So there's like all these like parallel goals that you can do. It's not like a tiered progression; it's parallel progression, and that's what appeals to me as the player when I was playing it. Because like as soon as I got bored with something, I was like, oh, I'll just move on to. Because I started with fishing originally, than the first time I played, and I got to level 10 fishing, and I was like, I caught every fish. Now what? But then there was so much more game to play. I could go to the dungeon and get to the bottom of the dungeon, and then go to the desert and
Could
find
fix up the
endless
community
dungeon.
center.
And fix up the community center, and then I did the farming thing where I have all these spreadsheets about how to maximize the return of
Wow, you
seeds to
All in.
But that's my point, is like you can do that, but you don't have to. That's what's great about it. It's the freedom of that. And unlike Harvest Moon, all those subsystems are really good. Where Harvest Moon was like, there's fishing, or sorry, there's farming. That's it. You can talk to people in town and you can farm. The end.
Yeah, the later ones got more in depth. Like some of the newer DS ones got pretty nuts, and like then they spun off into the Rune Factory series, which is Farmville but with monsters to kill in a dungeon, kind of like the mine
Right.
in Stardew Valley.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to play Rune Factory because of that, and I never got around to it. So even here, in this one image, they were in the museum, and you can fill up the museum with stuff like, what's it called? Animal Crossing, you know? It's kind of more like Animal Crossing than Farmville.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
I'd
both
say.
smushed together.
Yeah, there is an energy system. I forgot about that, and I don't want to distract away from
Well, yeah,
that.
that's like Harvest Moon.
Mhm.
Your
Yeah.
dude just gets tired because it's been a long day and you've been plowing fields and fishing and
I think it's
getting
actually a
on
really good
bookkeepers.
balancing system, because otherwise you could just farm forever,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
you could mine forever. That's the real thing, because mining is just procedurally generated, and so you could just keep going down forever and generate infinite money. So that's probably why it stops you, because that would get boring really fast. But mining has its own progression too, because every 5 levels you can drop back down to that 5th level, so you never have to like start from level 1 and go all the way down. Anyways, that's Stardew Valley. I would love to play it with other FUN-GINEERS. I think it's super fun.
Yeah, I never beat the game when I played it single player, so
I think
don't
that
I don't think
the
multiplayer is a great
multiplayer
place
would
to
be,
beat the game, but it'd be fun to play again.
I think the multiplayer beta is now available on GOG as well.
Oh yes, it is.
So
Sorry,
You
I
can
forgot
hop
to mention
in.
that.
sharing in the multiplayer too, you share all your money, which actually adds a difficulty that's sort of unexpected. I'm sure later on it like you get ridiculous money, but like when I was playing with my girlfriend, we were both trying to buy the first backpack, and it's like we got our first 2,000 gold. You buy the first backpack, then the second 2,000 gold. I can buy the second.
Oh, it
backpack.
wasn't just a race to see who got to the store first.
No, I let her buy it first.
Oh, what a
You're right. I
gentleman!
should have just like snuck over
Just
there.
every man for himself.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
would
it's gonna
never
be
do
when
it.
we get the FUN-GINEER game together. I'm not waiting.
Probably.
Just cutthroat Farmville.
Wow.
But yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Secretly harvest somebody else's radishes.
Well, the money's pooled, so I was thinking the same thing. I like where your head's at. If
Yeah.
the money is all pooled, that would only help everybody else.
I'm secretly helping by harvesting stuff when I'm not supposed to.
What you do is you go stand in the store and pretend to be away from your computer peeing or something and wait for them to get all the money. And then you just ninja loot the bag.
you just hang out in the store and wait for other people to make money.
What they do is they just wait. They wait it out, and then you pass out from sleep exhaustion. And you're like, wait, crap.
I like the idea of like the main villager dude and like 3 wandering vagrants just like
That's what it's
passing
sort of,
out in town all day and making a mess.
That's what it kind of felt like. Is you're more like farmhands than players, but you still get all your own personality. You know, with all the
Like the main character's just going around like I'm sorry. Like it's been a long day. He's been sitting in the store. I'm sorry. We'll get him out of the store. We'll roll him out of the store. He won't be here again.
Oh, also there was a weird bug that was really funny where wherever I was, my girlfriend could hear me doing whatever I was doing. So like if I was like, you know, in the farm, she'd be on the beach and she'd be like, "What's that noise? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just farming.
Just making
I'm
farming
watering
noises."
things." And so she could hear it no matter where I was. She could always hear what I was doing.
That's weird.
Anyways,
That's a
so
pretty benign beta bug, at least.
yeah. That's all I played. So just kind of, what have you been
Boy,
playing?
I played some stuff this week. So I played a bit of Alpha Protocol because I figured there was an Obsidian game coming out. So let's play an Obsidian game to celebrate. And boy, Alpha Protocol is a good game.
I don't know what it is. What
let
is
me-
Alpha Protocol?
Let me quantify that statement for a minute. Alpha Protocol's a really good visual novel with really bad fake Mass Effect gameplay.
I remember not being in love with it. At
The
one
gameplay
point,
is real bad, but like, man, it's so well written. You're basically a spy in like a super secret spy organization, and
Okay. I'm watching
your
your
character-
character now.
the hacking, your character. There's like 3 main personalities, and they're modeled after James Bond, Sterling Archer, and Jason Bourne. So you can be like a professional. You can be like a suave, you know, James Bond type, or you can just be a giant drunk asshole like Archer. And it's all wonderfully voice acted and very well written. It's funny and like
Did they
can
get
just-
H. John Benjamin?
No, God, I wish.
I wish.
Because like you're so, and like all the gameplay is like completely forgettable. Like you have skill trees and whatever. It's like Mass Effect 1-ish or like Mass Effect 2. Don't touch any of the other skill trees except for pistols because they're the only good weapons in the game.
Mhm.
What's
level
with your
up pistols.
crazy crosshair? It's like this giant.
Yeah, the crosshair is giant. Like you start off the game, you can select a background. And I selected recruit, which is just like, yo, we recruited you straight out of the CIA. You don't start with any skill points.
Okay.
And so it's like, yo, I'm a super secret super spy, and I can't hit the broadside of a barn from inside the barn because the crosshair is like half the screen. It's amazing. It's a really good game. It's really funny. There's like you can just be a huge jerk to just everybody, and it's great. And I played that for a bit, and then I went and did some fun archaeology. So last week there was like a sale on GOG and I think Steam. The
Mhm.
TIE Fighter and X-Wing games, the whole series went on sale. And those games are real cool because like they're DOS flight simulators from, you know, like X-Wing came out in 1993.
Yep.
And like, God, this is a genre of games that just doesn't exist anymore. Like the first
really
person flight sim, like you ended up with like Free Space and the Wing Commander games, and then they just kind of vanished.
Yeah.
And like, I guess sort of Freelancer, but that's different.
Oh, Freelancer. That was a cool game.
One of my favorite games of all time. So these went on sale, and like to my very pleasant surprise, you bought the bundle or any of these games, and like X-Wing and TIE Fighter come with all 3 versions of the game. So like you get the original DOS version, came out in 93 for X-Wing. Then you get the 1994 Special Edition, which was also on DOS, but was on a CD instead of 5 floppy disks. And it backports the engine from TIE Fighter to X-Wing.
Mm-hmm.
So you get some better graphics and whatever. And then there's also the like 2001 or something Windows release of the games. So you get all 3 versions, which is like super cool because they're all different. Like the original DOS versions obviously aren't hardware accelerated, but they still have 3D graphics. Like the original version of X-Wing runs at like 320 by 240, has this incredible MIDI score. Like it's awesome. Like it's actually awesome. It looks great. The voice acting is terrible because it's 1993. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, the actual flight is, you get this 2D overlay of an X-Wing cockpit. Your keyboard, like every button on your keyboard does something. You only really need like 12 buttons, but oh man.
I picked this game up on a GOG sale a couple years ago, and I remember trying to go back and playing it, and there's just too many keys. Like every key on your keyboard does something.
Yeah, you only really need like 12 buttons, but like if like again, like every button, if you want to target nearest enemy targeting you, or just target an enemy, or target nearest enemy, or you can juggle power levels between engine, shield, and lasers. You can straight dump energy from shields into firepower, or lasers back into shields, and balance shields. You can do the friggin' trench run thing of set deflectors, double fronts, right? And like flip a switch.
Yeah.
And like it's really flight simmy, but at the same time, it's still a Star Wars game. So it's World War II dogfighting in space. So like, modern games that try to do this type of flight sim stuff lean on the realism, and they go, you've got 6 degrees of freedom, it's Newtonian physics out the ass, and they're just not fun. Because like space combat, when it gets realistic, is really boring. You're a metal box flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour, hoping
you're not a cupcake
hoping
flying in space, fighting.
Hoping your space
a
computer
pastry.
outsmarts the other space computer and kills them with missiles before you die. And like that's not cool. Like X-Wing's really cool. And in weird ways, you see in both X-Wing and TIE Fighter that these games haven't aged very well, but at the same time, because nobody's making this style of game, they've aged really well simultaneously. It's bizarre. Like nobody makes this type of game anymore, and they're the best example of it. So in that way, they're still very playable. Like the DOS versions have mouse control. Even you can fly with the mouse, and it works perfect. The Windows versions, for whatever reason, don't have mouse control. You have to use either a joystick or a controller, but hey, they all have native controller support.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't work, you can either add them to Steam and launch it through Steam, or buy it on Steam and like play them that way and have Steam's controller support. Or like DOSBox has a built-in joy to key function, so you can remap your keyboard to joystick commands. Like they're really cool games. And like TIE Fighter, even if you think X-Wings are cooler, TIE Fighter's the better game because like they evolved the types of missions, and you're also playing an Imperial who's just like, yo, do your job. And then later in the game, you get visited by the Emperor's like agents, and he's like, yo, no, here's your actual mission objective for the next mission. Do it, and like, people are gonna get mad at you, but you got to do this because the Emperor's telling you. And like, TIE Fighters don't have shields, so you just die in 2 hits, so it's like way different playstyle wise. They're really fascinating games to look at as well, because they're 1993. It's Doom, and here's this 3D graphics flight sim.
I do remember X-Wing because that was another one of those. Like I was saying earlier, is LucasArts for some reason was on Mac, so they had the the original X-Wing on.
Yeah, that got a Mac version.
What was the game where it had like hull shooter segments and X-Wing fighting segments? What was that X-Wing?
Shadows of the Empire?
I think that's Shadows of the Empire.
That came to PC and N64, and I want to say Mac. A lot of things came to Mac in the.
But it was like old, like this art style. Did it have this art style?
Might be Dark Forces.
No, because Dark Forces didn't have.
Dark Forces was just a Doom
flying segments.
Oh, right, that's true.
Also, Dark Forces is awesome.
Dark Forces
Yes,
is
it
really good.
is.
For anyone who hasn't played it, it's very good.
Like, as awesome as Jedi Knight and Jedi Academy are, and how much everybody loves those games, it's fun to go back and play the root
Yeah,
of it
'cause
all.
Doom's a good foundation to build on, and then you add a good, good version of that.
Also,
And as we've said before, with all old games, they make wonderful speed runs.
yes, they do. Also, I
This
will
game-
never let Disney live it down that they killed off Kyle Katarn as a character. Jin Urso, hashtag not my rebel spy. It
Well,
was Kyle Katarn who stole the plans.
Kyle Katarn's cool. Whatever the dude's name that you play as in Shadows of the Empire is, I'm glad he's dead. He's literally just, hey, I'm Han Solo,
Basically.
and my Wookiee is a droid. But yeah, X-Wing and TIE Fighter are cool. It was really cool to go back and play them. X-Wing, by the way, problem with X-Wing, the 1993 original DOS release, I think I'm the only person on the planet that has this problem. And as soon as I launch a mission in that game, it just crashes immediately.
Oh.
And I think it's a problem with I think it might be fixed in Steam, but I know it's a problem with the GOG versions. The Windows releases the 3D wrapper that interprets all this old ass pre-DirectX, graphics accelerator stuff. Crashes the game when you launch a mission, so you have to download a fixed wrapper from like some fan site on the internet. That's the official GOG answer to the question, by the way.
That's
but yeah, they're
great.
cool games. I picked up this whole bundle for like $20, and it includes the later versions. But the main thing I played this week, Pillars of Eternity 2, and boy.
So, at one point on Wednesday night, I heard you say that you had been playing the game for 18 hours.
16,
Yes.
I believe.
16?
Yeah, 18 hours, 16, 18 hours. The game had come out 1 p.m. Eastern Tuesday. I'd played it for 18 hours and a day and a half.
Woo!
That's a lot.
That is a day and a half.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Pillars 2 is literally the perfect sequel in that it's better at everything.
I haven't actually seen any of this gameplay footage.
It improves literally everything about the first game. First main improvement that everybody will notice is the graphics are better. Like, the graphics aren't bad in Pillars 1. It has a very good, the overall maps are very great, very old-fashioned in that CRPG style. But like, the character models are kind of ugly, especially when you're blowing them up in the character screen.
Yes, the portraits are terrible too,
and they don't quite fit the graphics of the backgrounds.
Right.
That's fixed. That's all like massively improved. There's like really good like dynamic lighting on all the elements of the backgrounds. Like, one of your characters carries around a lantern full of souls all the time, and like it casts dynamic lights. So it's like you'll be walking through a puddle that's in a giant footprint, and like the puddle's making waves and the lights casting on the thing, and it's casting shadows over the side of the footprint. Like, it's a gorgeous game. Second main improvement, all the dialogue, literally all the dialogue is voiced.
Oh, that's right. I heard that.
The main, which I think was the main reason behind Obsidian delaying the game like 2 months or something.
Yes,
Right.
I talked
Finish.
about this on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, for Divinity, they're like, oh shit, we need to do that. And it must have been expensive as hell because there's a lot of fucking dialogue in this game.
Right. In
Like-
Pillars 1, it's really weird because you'll start with dialogue, like you'll start
Yeah,
with
like
voice,
the
and then you'll
first-
hit a response, and then
The
there's
first
nothing.
blurb. Yeah, the first
And then you'll
blurb
hit
of the
another
conversation.
response, and then there's
Yeah.
voice again, and it's really weird. It sort of like
It's weird.
bounces.
Everything's voiced. It's great. Like, the story's better. Like, the story in Pillars 1 isn't bad. It's just not very driving. It's like, yo, something weird happened to you, and you can talk to souls now. Figure it out.
Yeah, it's like,
in this one,
do I care?
In this one, I guess, spoilers alert, 5 years later after the ends of Pillars 1, your castle gets stepped on by a god,
Yeah.
and in doing so, it steals part of your soul, so you have to chase it and get your soul back, which is more motivating than the story in Pillars 1. And
Are you still a watcher? Like, can you
Yes.
still see souls and stuff?
Yep, still the same character. You can import a completed game save from Pillars 1. There's a lot of weird bugs. Like, this is an Obsidian game. There are a lot of weird bugs, mostly involving the character save import. But some of those I think got fixed. But it's stuff like, if you import a completed save, it'll forget some of your character histories. So it's like, oh, I did this with whatever in my game, and then in this game, it's just ignoring that and using like Ader's other ending instead.
Right.
That's
Or
kind of a big
in,
deal.
in some people's saves, Aloth never shows up in Pillars 2 because the
Oh.
game thinks he's dead,
Yeah.
even though he wouldn't have died in your first game. And so like weird import bugs like that. There's a couple weapons that come with you or show up again that like don't, or you get them selectively. Thankfully, like me, if you never beat Pillars 1, because that game is like fucking gigantic, you can create there's a bunch of pre-created ones, but you can go into the options and create a history to import.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Which
I like when
both-
games do that.
Yeah, which
Like
both
Mass Effect.
fixes like all of the weird like character background import stuff, but then introduces some other weird ones, and it's thankfully none of the bugs are like game breaking. There's some weird performance issues, which is like, and like memory management issues, which seems to be a theme for Unity games recently. This and BattleTech having weird performance and like memory leak problems. But like literally everything's better. Oh, and I guess I should say like creating the save. It's it's a bunch of questions, and it's like, what did you do when you did this? But like a lot of them, like the name of them is just like, what happened in this quest? It's the title of the category. It's just the name of the quest. So it's what I did is like I answered all the questions for all the stuff I did in PoE1, and then all the stuff I didn't. I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna go on the wiki because there's a really good like official game wiki. Just type in the name of the quest for the question and just like read it and be like, oh yeah, I would have done that, and selected that answer. It was like really easy to build a completed save to import that way, which was cool. And
Yeah.
it takes place now. You're in like the Dreadfire Isles. You're pirates, or like you have a ship, so you can be pirates, or you can ally with
so
a
you don't
pirate
get a
faction.
stronghold anymore. Instead,
No, you have a ship, and you hire
Is there a ship
crew.
button the whole time as well.
Is it just a
Very,
mobile
yes.
stronghold?
It's sort of. There's less upgrading. It's more like upgrading to like the barracks or whatever to get like a
Right.
shopkeeper. It's like I'm gonna buy new cannons, upgrade my hull, get new sails, buy a menagerie so I can get all these pets.
Yeah, the pets.
So the pets also better in PoE2 because now they give stats. They give small stat
okay.
bonuses. Like
I was
hey,
gonna
this
say, did
dude-
they ever do anything in the first one?
No, they're for fun. In the second game, it's like, yo, this cat gives intellect +1 and like a small, like everybody gets 8 more max health, which is cool. And there's like 66 pets, and they all have different variations on like the stat and aura they give, which is cool.
That is cool.
And like you can make more money and just buy another ship. So it's like you start off in a small sloop, you can buy a dhow or a galleon eventually, and like upgrade those and like choose which one you're gonna take out, and like
Oh,
you
so
gotta
have, like multiple ships?
yes, you can have like
nice.
and on all of them you can build a menagerie to just like have the pets you're not taking with you just like hang out in the hold of your ship.
That's
Which
awesome.
is cool. And like, it's buying cannons, and some cannons are good at long range, take forever to reload, some are good at short range. This one's a flamethrower. This one's a double-barreled cannon that takes 8 turns to reload. Like you can go get into combat, and like the ship-to-ship combat is like a turn-based text combat, which is cool. And
Who needs Sea of Thieves? Just play Pillars of
honestly,
Eternity
this
2.
feels a lot like the like overworld stuff with the pirating feels a lot like a Mountain Blade,
Okay.
where you're clicking around the
Interesting.
map and like you're landing on an island, and it's like, hey, here's a grove, click on it. When you walk down, time passes. Oh, there's 18 water. Great, I was running out of water. 'Cause
Oh, so they
ships
got
gotta-
rid of the world map in the other game.
Yeah. and replace it with
Interesting.
an overworld map that you can
Oh, that's
navigate
way
around. That's very
cooler.
similar to Mountain Blade or Sid Meier's Pirates.
Yeah. Mountain Blade's
And-
red.
Yeah, and then visit towns and the combat's still not amazing because I think the turn-based stuff in Divinity Original Sin 2 is kind of the high mark for CRPGs combat.
Mhm.
Like that just works as a tactics game.
Right.
Like a lot of this, like Baldur's Gate and PoE, it's fine.
I
Passable.
keep getting stuck behind people. It's really frustrating. Like
PoE
you're very
2,
limited to how many melee
it's-
characters you can have.
It's all better. Like your stat, like a lot of the buffs got condensed into just like a generic fortitude buff or whatever, and debuff. And
Instead
you
of,
have when you level up, you have a skill tree now. Speaking of skill trees, you level up and it's like, hey, I can take I can take this, but if I take this, I don't. And then, it branches and you get 2 upgrades. You take one or the other for a skill, or don't take it at all. And there's a tree of passives. When you create a character, you can multi-class. So you can be 2 characters, but you don't gain a power level, which unlocks new abilities faster. And you have less resources. You're ultimately less powerful, but you get a second class tree to fill out. Every class has a subclass. So you can choose the Berserker class or the Barbarian class, and you can choose to be a Berserker or like a Mage Hunter or whatever. Like they'll have different buffs and debuffs, and it's literally better in every single way from PoE 1. I've so many good things to say about it.
There's a name for every combination of multi-class. That's awesome.
I'm forgetting here. I'm gonna it up real quick and hope nothing breaks. By the way, I've played 30 hours of this game.
Oh my god.
The unique item enchanting's better because every item you can only now enchant unique items, unique enchantments that are per item. And some of them are yo, you found an ancient bronze sword and it's really cool, but it's just dull and corroded. Right. So one of the enchantments is yo, sharpen the fuck.
Wow, this game is eating your mic.
Yeah.
Or I'm losing internet.
Yes, sorry. It there's just anything that is a quibble in PoE 1 is either fixed or improved upon in 2. If you are a fan of RPGs, this game, just full stop.
You're making it sound like it'd be pretty easy to just skip to the second one, and I'm considering it now.
So there's a lot of really good lore and character background stuff that you can read it on the wiki, but it's really cool to learn about firsthand. Because this one starts off with you getting a commandment from a god to yo, you kind of sort of died when this game started, but I'm going to bring you back to life if you do what I tell you and hunt down the god that stepped on you. And do the god's bidding. There's a lot of interaction with the gods, and the stuff you learn in PoE 1 as to the nature of the gods in this universe is super interesting.
It's just so much.
I will not spoil because it's a cool twist.
Draining. I get that. Yeah, a lot of reading.
And I can't even play it on the toilet. I don't have time to absorb this game. Pilla's returning on Switch, please.
PoE 2 is on, or PoE 1 is on PS4, so if you have a Vita, you can remote play it. I'm sure that will work real badly. But yeah, this one doesn't even have that much reading because it's all voice acted.
So, I was going to suggest if you guys are interested in taking a short break, just a 5-minute or whatever, 5-minute break, and then we'll talk about the news. So I can grab some water, which I desperately need. How's that sound?
All this RPG talk dry out.
We can do that.
Okay.
So great. my character class PoE 2 loaded up. That's the other bug, is that load times get long, and I think it's a Unity problem with save files because BattleTech is the same problem. With the more save files you have, the longer it takes to load. I am a 13th level Transcendent, which is a monk cipher subclass.
Sounds pretty good.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really good. All the companions, when you select a companion, you can be yo, do you want them to be a fighter or be a rogue, or do you want to be the fighter rogue? And some of them have unique subclasses, and it's, again, literally everything is better from PoE 1. It's so good.
Cool. Very cool.
Yep.
All right. So, yes, a quick 5 minutes, and I'm just gonna grab some water.
Yes.
We'll return.
All right.
To the FUNCAST.
Be back in a few
Stay
minutes.
Tuned.
We're back.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to the FUNCAST.
I almost forgot to unmute my mic again.
H2O.
Yes, delicious water.
I didn't get anything.
Delicious.
Now I'm feeling rather thirsty, but it's okay.
I wanted to make that
this water is so delicious and hydrating.
All that PoE talk dried me out.
You can't drink seawater. That's what you learn playing that game.
If your crew drinks regular water, their morale goes down. You gotta make sure to stock them up with grog.
Now that is very
Sea of Thieves.
no, what's it called?
Sid Meier's
Mount
Pirates.
Blade. That is
Oh,
very
Mountain
Mount
Blade.
Blade.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyways, so Burnout,
Talk about
since you are
some news.
the Nintendo Switch aficionado or of sorts.
Look, you gave me a platform, and all I want to do is talk about Switch stuff. Okay.
You're like the Switch person.
So
And
last
our one
week,
Switch viewer left, unfortunately.
that's
They were-
fine.
Well,
We'll get him on the VOD.
We'll get him
Okay.
on the pod.
Last week, Nintendo announced official details on the Nintendo Switch Online program.
yay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. At least
The
it's only.
Wait,
$20?
mobile app? Oh no.
Well,
Yes.
that's been the voice chat thing for.
Yep. So, among all of the news, there's some accompanying. If you subscribe to it, similar to PS Plus or games with gold, you're gonna get old Nintendo games. Along with
20
your...
of them, and I think they announced 10.
Yes.
But like, they're cool. They have like online play.
Yes, they're like remastered versions of old NES games that are made for the modern day with online
Yeah.
compatibility.
I'd be interested in playing online Dr. Mario.
Along with that, the biggest part of this is cloud storage, cloud saves.
Yeah. Hey yo, Burnout! You know that 900 hours Legend of Zelda save you got? It'd be a shame if something happened to it if you didn't pony up $20.
You know, I'm okay with it. It's $20 for the whole year, which is
Yeah.
a steal compared to every other online service.
Yeah, the
I was
pricing
gonna
doesn't
say, it's like
surprise
at
me.
the price. I was like, wow, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me because they've offered on the handhelds an app or service, I guess, called Nintendo Bank or Pokemon Bank, which lets you take Pokemon out of your your DS game, 3DS game, and like put them in a cloud storage place. So you can move them between games easier.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think is like $9 a year or like $5 a year. It's like super cheap.
Oh, Pokebank? Yeah.
Yeah, Pokebank.
Yeah.
It's like I'm kind of not surprised this is only $20, but like also it's like great cloud saves. That's cool. I wish I could just stick a USB port into the Switch dock like I could a PS4 and do that.
So
Yeah.
if you stop paying, what happens to your cloud saves? They
No
go
idea.
away?
We have no official word, but if I had to guess, they probably just get frozen until you subscribe again. 'Cause I think
hope
that's the
they
way
don't
the
wipe them.
PlayStation ones work.
That'd be pretty funny if they did wipe them. I mean,
Like,
Nintendo
fuck
has historically never understood how online works.
No.
So I'd be surprised if they knew how cloud saves work.
Like this is like maybe if the rest of the classic Nintendo games are like really cool, because like even good NES games, most of them I don't feel like playing for more than like 20 minutes.
Mhm.
But like unless those are really cool, like I just don't play any Switch games. I think the only game I play on Switch that plays online is Mario Kart, and I've never done that because like I don't know, I just played single player.
I've played it a couple times. Pretty fun.
Yeah, and like I
It's
guess
pretty
for
hard,
people that
though.
play Splatoon, that
Yeah.
kind of like hey, this game you like, better pony up $20 to keep playing it. But like
Right.
at least you've known this has been coming for like 2 years or something at this point.
You know what's an interesting thing about Splatoon though is unlike other shooters for other consoles, Splatoon's entirely playable single player, right? Both of them.
Right, it has like a campaign.
Yeah, there's some single player stuff to do, and especially with that DLC that they announced in the last direct, there's going to be even more single player content. I guess if for some reason you want to play Splatoon but not online or not pay for the online.
Right.
Just
Um,
I guess I'm only feeling kind of like wishy-washy on this because like I don't play any online Switch games.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Uh,
about to say I don't even own a Switch, and then I remembered that I do own a Switch.
fair.
Wow.
And I also am wishy-washy on this. I probably won't pay for it. I
Seems-
did want to pay for PS Plus.
I was gonna say it seems like a slightly downgraded version of PlayStation Plus. Along with your subscription, you get the ability to play online, like
Mhm.
Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus. You get a selection of old games. maybe not the best value of old games compared to some of the
I mean,
games with gold.
considering
or-
how much they charge for these things on like the virtual console throughout the years, like, it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
Like,
true.
you got to take all this with that grain of salt because it's $20 for the entire year, which
Yeah,
is
it's only $20.
that's the
They
price
do
of a
say
month and a
you
half
don't
of
get
the
to
other.
keep the games. You just have them while you're subscribed.
Same thing with the
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus games. You only get those.
Although
Yeah.
it is a much better like system than when they first announced. It was like, oh, you'll get like a rotating selection of like 3 a month or whatever.
Mhm.
Like you're
Mhm.
instead this is just like, hey, we're gonna just give you 20 because the thing we were trying to do before is insane.
Yes. And then, as much crap as they get about the whole cloud backup thing and why can't you just use local storage, they've got their weird reasons. But it does actually remind me of one time I was trying to move my save for, I think it might have been the first Ni no Kuni. I was trying to transfer it off of one PlayStation 3 to another, and for some
Mhm.
reason, the only way I could move my file was through cloud backup, and I had to pay for a month of PS Plus to do it.
Gross.
It was some game that would not let me save data.
It wouldn't let you move the data to
It
the
wouldn't let me
stick.
move data. It would only let me put it on cloud backup. And
Like I
That's so
forget
weird.
which. Like maybe it was the PS3 as well, but I know the PS4. If you plug in a USB stick, you can't transfer to it unless it's like formatted in like FAT32 or something,
Mhm.
which is stupid and backwards and old. But whatever.
You know what let you transfer things? The Wii U. Remember the Wii U?
no
system
no
transfer?
One does.
Why does no one like the Wii U?
I like the Wii U.
I don't know.
then the
I
Switch
just-
came out,
yeah,
and all the good Wii U games are now on the
are
Switch.
just on the Switch now. And
Frothy
then,
likes the Wii U. Frothy's like a diehard Wii U.
I will say I
enthusiast.
had a lot of fun with Nintendo Land. The multiplayer in that was cool.
yes,
Yeah.
the Wii U was nice because I knew other people who had Wii U's. And I just went over there to play all the fun games. I never owned one myself. At the end of this article, though, the catch-all is special offer. Stay tuned for more special details. So maybe they'll add more value to this before it releases in September. We got E3 between
Well,
now and then.
E3 is in a month, in like 38 days or something.
Look forward to our special E3 FUNCAST coverage.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That almost sounded like how Nintendo writes their press releases.
We're gonna pre-record our coverage. We're just gonna
Yes.
guess what people will say, and then
God, that'd
have
be-
that be the coverage.
We should actually do that. We should seal some predictions in like an envelope and open them after the show.
Well, somebody said they're going to talk about
Yeah, they
The-
announced the 4 games or whatever.
yeah, so they're gonna one of them's gonna be the Kojima game. So that'd be fun guessing what that is going to be.
I don't know. How do you top Norman Reedus with a screaming baby in his
Norman Fetus?
stomach, esophagus, and
I don't know. How can we predict what the game is when Kojima doesn't even know what his own game is?
We just have to think like Kojima.
like the
Maybe
more I
Kojima's
see from
watching
Death,
right
the
now.
more I see of Death Stranding or have seen of Death Stranding, it's like, wow, Kojima's a great game designer. I'm glad he's doing this. 2, holy shit, I'm completely understand why Konami did its best to kill Metal Gear.
Hold on, what was
It's
the
like, holy shit.
what was the thing Kojima said about Death Stranding? He's like, the only way he could describe the game was something about you're playing with your friends, but you're connected with ropes, not sticks.
Oh, something like that. Yeah.
What does that
I don't-
mean?
What? I don't know. I don't know what any of the thing that they've shown for that game means. Remember the first one had like more whale stuff.
Oh, giant
first
flaming
trend-
whale.
Yeah, and oh my god.
At the end of the demo, this quote appears on the screen. Watch out, the gap in the door is a separate reality. The only me is me. Are you sure the only you is you?
Anyways,
Fucking
so
Kojima. Holy
we'll-
shit.
we'll see how that turns out during
Next
E3.
news story is also brought to you by Burnout because he's the only one that cares.
Hey, there's
That's
one
not
other
true.
person who
I've-
cares.
I've talked myself into being more interested in this.
Well, here's the thing, right? I don't have an Xbox. I do have a PlayStation 4 in my house. I don't want to play for PlayStation Plus, so I've totally missed out on Monster Hunter World, and I've just been waiting
Sure
for the
did.
PC release because I'm sure
I'm sure that'll
come out
show up
someday.
at the PC show at E E3.
That's
and
probably
then
true.
yesterday they announced that they're localizing Monster Hunter
Yeah.
Double Cross as
Out of actually nowhere.
Yeah, why are they doing this? How old is this game?
It's-
So
not old. Double Cross came out in Japan at the end of last year, I think, or
no,
middle of last
end
year.
of 2016. I think.
I remember downloading the demo because I had to make a Japanese account, and that only happened like in
I don't know.
fall
Maybe it
sometime.
was the beginning of last year. Anyway.
Wow, it says March 2017. What?
Yeah.
Oh,
On the 3DS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and then it came out like for like 3 months later on the Switch or whatever.
Huh.
yeah.
There's only 6 weapon styles though. That's what I thought it was. Why is that? What's that
Well,
about?
There's like there's like 6 weapon or like 6 or 7 weapons, but each one has like a form. There's like 4 forms for each weapon.
Oh, I see.
So it's like you can be and they're like adepts something. I forget the other ones
There's
because
like-
I only ever played adept, which added like a perfect dodge to everything, which was amazing.
There's a guild mode. There's like the classic. There's an aerial
Oh,
mode
right.
where you're always
Oh.
jumping around. There's a striker
Right, no, that's
mode.
not true. Before I went to adept and ascended, I was an aerial switch axe user and just like spammed dodge roll to aerial attack and mount everything on that.
The old Switch Axe.
Yeah, so like generations or double cross, whichever localization you want to use, is really
It's
cool.
Check out this shirt I bought at PAX East. I finally got it because it wasn't at PAX East and they shipped it to me. How cool is this shirt?
Nice.
Yo! Oh,
It's
that's good.
red.
Sweet shirt. For people who can't see, it's a Monster Hunter shirt.
Yeah, it's
It sure
the
is.
That's it.
It's
I
the
can't describe
muscle-
what it is.
It is
It's
the cat
the-
from Monster
yeah.
Hunter, the cat chef.
the muscle chef.
I know, I love it. He's like the best character.
Yeah. But like what sold me so like when I heard this I was like, oh, I don't care, I have World. But then like started thinking about my feelings on World, and like World's a really good game, but like
Mhm.
because Generations comes from a long line of we're just like we're on the same engine on the same platform, so we're able to reuse all our assets from the old game. So here's the new game with like all the old monsters plus like 16 new ones.
Yeah.
It's like there's like 98 or something, some ridiculous number of different monsters in Generations.
So that's
Like,
part of
a
my
lot of them are,
conflict.
That's crazy.
A lot of them are like variations on each other, but like this has the 3rd tier of difficulty, like low rank, high rank, G rank. This has like 90,000 fucking weapon types and armor, and unlike World, they all look different.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so we're clear, they're like 2 different games.
Yes.
So as much as I'm still
Yeah, these
conflicted,
ones are the old school.
I'm excited. I want to play World still because I haven't, because it's new and different. But I also
Like some of
this-
the like a lot of
Like
it
this
is
seems way floatier from this game.
yes. Yeah, I mean
the
it's
world is
older.
very hefty in all the
Yeah.
movement.
And like World got rid of loading zones between areas on a map,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
instance, which I kind of don't want to go back to. But if it means getting to hunt all these monsters that just don't exist in World, like sign me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I actually do have a local group of friends that I can
that's
sit
cool.
down and monster hunt in a cafe, like the game was intended to.
Yep.
You
And
your
also
Switch
the really
using it
cool thing is
accurately.
just like the way the skills work is different. So the way you build an armor set's different, and it's World sped up the collection of pieces for armor and made
Oh,
it
yeah,
easier to get the harder stuff. So
Speaking
so it's
of-
a longer game. And
Also
Oh my
feel like the art is better in this one than Worlds. I know Worlds is going for like the much newer graphics engine and the much more
Yeah.
realistic effects and everything, but even just the
Yeah.
art direction, I feel I like the colors and
yeah,
there's a lot more
colors
insane
of
spiky
this,
dragon
yeah.
armor in this game.
Sin Ogre,
Yeah,
just in general, Lightning
just
Dog.
just in ogres. That's
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah, and the fucking bubble snake, and oh my
all.
god.
Mhm.
I mean, it's gonna be nice to have more than one weapon for each element too. Like in World, like World has 2 fire swords. Great, I only have 1 water sword. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, the water thing is weird in
Because
World.
just
I don't
in
know.
World they had to make everything or almost everything from scratch, so it's a lot
They should
more
have
work.
cut some elements or something. I feel
Yeah,
like
whereas,
water
like, in
is so,
Generation-
underplayed.
Whereas in Generation, there's like 6 monsters for each element that you can build up that has its own weapon and armor set.
Yeah, Ice is super underplayed too, and it's only really the
Yeah, because Legiana is the only ice monster.
Legiana,
In Generations, because you fight Kushla Deora in an ice area, it's ice element,
Right,
but you don't in World because there's no ice zone.
right.
So anyways, number one
yeah.
reason I'm probably going to play this game at least first, maybe I'll get World eventually, but I'm looking more forward to this one because I've got a solid release date. It's coming out in the middle of August. We
Yep.
still don't know when the PC is going to release Worlds.
Nope.
I thought you were gonna segue into the next article. the reason why you're gonna play this one first is because of this fantastic new hardware.
So I tacked this on just because I don't know.
It's
Somebody was
cute. I don't know.
talking about it. Nintendo releases the official charging stand for their Switch, which somebody posted in our Discord, and we were all simultaneously like, "What is this? Why do we care? This is dumb."
Why?
And then I thought about it,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's nice to just.
It's
be
the
able-
only bad design on like the physical hardware of the Switch is that the charging port is at the bottom, so you can't charge it if you're using it with the kickstand.
See, but my thought is, I probably wouldn't use this to sit it on my desk and play games, but just to have a nice, convenient docking station where if I want to charge it while I'm at work and I want to put
Like,
this on my desk.
yeah, that too. Like this is the worst place to put the charging point of a device you
Yeah. Who
design
puts a charging port right here?
that you designed to sit flat on a table. This is the stupidest place to put a charging port, and I understand why it's there because otherwise it wouldn't work with the dock.
Hey, Android, where's your
Right.
Switch?
Uh,
You don't keep it within hand's reach all the time?
no, I don't because I don't have anything here that even looks like a Switch.
Just hold your
I have
phone up.
this.
What is that? Like a DC motor?
Is that a
Oh, it's
inflatable
dead.
mattress pump?
It is.
Oh, hey, we were both right.
There you go. That's what I have then within arm's reach.
Anyways, so I just thought that was cool. I just,
Oh wait. Oh, that's right. I
Um,
have this fidget cube, the ultimate actual toy.
oh yeah,
Mm.
fidgets are a thing.
Continue.
Millennials.
ASMR fidget cube.
Last small reason I threw this up here is just in the light of all the third party. Do you mind?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you could hear that.
Oh no, I can totally hear that. In light of all the third party docks and chargers bricking Switch systems,
Yeah, because of bad US or like weird USB-C standard support.
yep, it's just nice to see more official Nintendo powering products.
Does the article say how much it's gonna cost? Because
$19.99.
oh,
I was gonna say $20.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
I was gonna say like if this thing costs like $30, that's wouldn't surprise me because all the Nintendo peripherals are weirdly expensive for the Switch.
That Pro controller, man, I still can't get over that.
It's a really good controller, especially now that it's supported in Steam. So like, you
I
can-
know it's a good controller because the Wii U Pro controller was awesome and it was also
Mhm.
expensive. But
So
the
the
Switch
only-
one's even more expensive.
The only thing is that
Crazy.
this one this is like a bad D-pad.
Yeah, I hear the
Because-
D-pad's not great.
So like it has the problem where like especially in like action or like I see it a lot in Puyo Puyo Tetris where you're doing like left to rights a lot or
Mhm.
like quarter circles to move stuff quickly, and sometimes when you move across the D-pad it interprets it as an up instead of left to right, like the way the switch, the membrane in the thing like just isn't gated. It's
Mhm.
like if you go left to right quickly it'll be like, oh, you hit up, and like that's real bad when you're playing Tetris because then you just drop pieces.
Right.
Apparently it's fixed in like the special like controller they did for
Xenoblade?
some bundle they did, or Xenoblade. Yeah, apparently that one has a better D-pad.
Yes.
Hmm.
So actually, as far as I was really disappointed when they announced the Pro controller and it came out with it and it was $70. That is a lot for a controller. But
Yep.
thankfully, I've been keeping an eye on it because I'm getting ready to, once I start making some more money, get a Pro controller.
Yep.
A couple weeks ago on Amazon, it dropped down to $60 and it's just
Ooh,
it stayed
what?
there. So
Really?
that's the price of a PlayStation or Xbox controller now.
That's cool.
I'm looking it up right now. 'cause
And like
that's
unless you're
incredible.
playing
I'm looking at it too. Let me
unless you
just pull
play
up right
racing
here.
games or something, you're not gonna miss the analog triggers. Like
Oh my
ever.
god, it is $60.
Yep. But
Whoa, that's really good deal.
even in the light of that news, I kind of want to save up the extra money and buy a Xenoblade controller for
Yeah, for the
$100. Partially because of the D-pad, partially because I liked that game, and
Yeah.
I like a controller that's not just a black controller.
Hmm.
Like I like a little bit of style.
Yeah, that's why I
Wow.
got the blue and red Switch.
Yeah, I got the green and pink Joy Cons, but they're that's sitting in the living room right now. The black ones stay on the Switch for when I go use it on the toilet or whatever.
Oh,
It's so nice to
There's
just
so
be able
many
to put the
off-brand
controller down and pick the Switch up and not have to do the
oh, the
switching.
like, you know,
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's why I was a sucker and paid like 90 Canadian dollars for a Pro controller.
Yeah,
God.
The first one I got actually had the like stick issue that some of these have, where like the left stick had like a dead zone.
Mhm.
weird.
Yeah, which is apparently a known problem, and it's a problem I've had with every non-Sony controller I've bought in the last 10 years. Like I've gone through like 360 controllers because they all have a left stick dead zone.
I've been using the same Xbox One controller for so long, and I just switched over to that's my main controller for.
If I wanted to be a
I
real
use
sucker,
Xbox 360
if I
controller.
wanted to be a real
It's
sucker,
really
I'd
good.
pony up for that Xbox Elite controller.
Xbox Elite.
I don't know if that has enough added value or.
I don't know. I just because like I hear so many good things about the build quality. Like it's like
Mhm.
like solid and like well machined and everything. Although I've heard there are rumors that there's going to be a new revision on the Xbox One controllers that'll show up at E3.
We'll see. We'll add that to the E3 bingo cards. But
Add that to my
speaking
prediction
of
file.
That's what I was
hardware,
gonna say.
I
Segue
beat you to
masters.
it.
When you're
Uh,
in, I was gonna say speaking of rumors, but I like yours better.
Neo Geo. They're making a Neo
God,
Geo
I-
Mini.
So I just want to
Because-
say,
Looks
first of all,
really cool.
this picture, you might think it looks cool, but this picture looks like an April Fool's joke, like this little like plastic thing.
You're not
like-
far off.
It looks really dumb.
I
Like, like
Okay, no. So
What?
scroll down, and look at the international version, because that's the one that Neo Geo cabinets looked like here. Except
is
it's
there a
long and
video
not the
out
blue.
of any kind?
I-
Do you
I
have to
don't
really play it
know.
on this like 1-inch screen?
Okay,
Uh,
apparently it will include an HDMI port.
3.5
Okay,
inch
alright, I see
display.
it.
Yeah, so it
Oh my god.
probably going to be much more expensive than say like the Super Nintendo or Nintendo Classics were because it includes a controller and a screen all built in to the console.
That's
And
so
it also comes with
ridiculous.
40 Neo Geo games, which are all expensive.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Even digitally, they're like fairly pricey on like the Switch and whatever.
So for those who can't see the picture, imagine an arcade cabinet but
Yeah.
5 inches tall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it says
adorable.
the screen is
3.5 inches. So it's
yeah,
going to be about the
3.5
same size
inches.
as a Gen 1 iPod Touch or iPhone.
Oh my god.
It's adorable. I love the game art above the screen.
Here it comes with a sticker pack so you can change the game art.
Yeah, I love
That's really
this
funny.
old Neo Geo logo. I
As
love the 4 buttons.
as tiny and terrible as that screen may or may not be, it's got controller ports on the left and right side so you can plug 2 controllers in and just
Yep.
play. And it's also got HDMI out so you can plug into
Yes,
a TV.
thank God for the HDMI.
If you scroll down, there's like a picture album, and you can scroll to the 5th picture, and it shows what the Neo Geo MVS like full cabinet looked like, and like they did a really good
Yes.
job of.
So do you think the controllers
try
will come with it, or you have to buy them separately?
I mean, I think they're just. Are they? Let me actually find. Is there a close up?
I remember seeing a close up somewhere else, but this article I pulled up does not have the close ups in it.
It just
It
says
does.
2 external controller ports. I don't know what.
But the
Wonder
controller
if the
ports
controllers come with it.
and the power port were all USB-C in the pictures I saw, so
Oh.
it might be
Weird.
open to you plug in other things. I don't know. We'll see.
I was kind of
Yeah.
hoping that there'd be a Neo Geo controller port on it, but
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
because those things are cool.
Next up in news,
Speaking of
completely
things that are
unrelated.
cool.
There is no segue for this. Well, maybe I can think of one. Hold on.
All right.
Speaking of
Things that died too early.
the Sea of Thieves game that we all played once has an update coming out, which is very strange to me because as I read this article and sort of watched the video, there's
The
a part of it
wording
where they
of
say
this that they
there's-
talk about it is weird.
yeah, but specifically that there's 3 development teams still working
Yeah.
on the game, which it talks about at the bottom of the article here. One on each piece of the upcoming DLC. So there's 3 DLC coming, and the developer is working on all 3 simultaneously, but also they're not talking about the DLC at all, and there's never historically been a roadmap really of any kind.
Again, there's a lot of weird language in this article about Sea of Thieves development.
I'm really glad that you guys are keeping up on this because I have completely written this game off already.
I
Well, I bought it, so I
yeah.
still own it, and
I-
I don't regret it because I played it and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I
and
had a ton of
wait,
fun with it, but
and-
I don't know. It's gonna have
But
to take. It's gonna take a lot to get me back.
yeah,
I mean, this is kind of nice. Gamer tags are now invisible while underwater, so you can more sneak up
You
on
can actually sneak.
the biggest feature that they're introducing, which they had to push back, which is also hilarious, is that they were like, "Hey, our first 2 quality updates, oh, they're delayed," is is private matchmaking, which I think is like
Yeah, thank
crucial.
God.
Because especially us as the FUN-GINEER community, trying to play with randoms,
I'm just trying to get everybody in.
Oh my god, all the poor random people that would not leave, and we just had to lock them in the brig. That's
Right.
all you
Leave
could
them
do.
until they left on their own.
And a lot of people sometimes they would join and then just pilot the ship into the island because they were bad at the game. Like we had that happen a couple times.
I have a
Trying to find
hilarious Twitch
randoms.
clip of that happening.
I mean, we
Yeah.
did have that like actual child that was on
like
your ship.
actual
Yes.
British 8-year-old kid who took my ship and crashed it.
He's like, yeah, it was good.
And, I mean, there was that one really useful guy we picked up that like sabotaged that ship while we were in port.
Oh yeah.
But they're also
Man,
sharing.
It's sad when the stories about the game are better than the game.
Well, that's the kind of game it's supposed to be. That was the
Yeah.
whole development. Like,
Just
philosophy.
then,
They were
then you
trying to
run
create
out
a
of
game.
then you just
Like
run out
great
of stories.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think the problem was there was a lot of friction to the stories too. Like matchmaking, I think was easily the biggest issue. But I'm hoping that once they do the private matchmaking, and also you can join groups already playing.
Oh well, like this is taking this long to get that.
Right.
Ugh.
So I'm hoping that's a thing. You can also invite strangers into your ship if you have a free slot. That kind of stuff. Which is nice. If you meet a stranger, you're like, join our crew, stranger. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's the right direction. It just I wanted to point it out the article just because it seems so bizarrely delayed. And
Yeah.
Low Sound was talking about this in chat. One of the FUN-GINEERS was just he doesn't understand how such a massive development team, and I assume the development team working on it is still fairly large. How they can
probably
move
gotta be,
so
like, yeah.
slowly.
Mhm.
And I think it's got to be production. I just feel
there's
like
some
there's
bad
some-
management on this thing, and
Yeah.
then that turned into like, oh, we need to pivot into something just completely different from what we were thinking we were gonna do
right.
when this game comes out.
Like maybe there's too much design, too many directions it could go, and there's just no one,
Many
saying
cooks.
we should go this way.
Yeah,
So,
there's not like one lead creative.
I know, and so that's why they were so quick to respond to player feedback because they were like, "Oh, this is what the players want." That's
No,
the
we've
easy
got like
thing.
9 teams. Just you guys go work on that.
Yeah, bizarre. Anyway, so that's Sea of Thieves. I just thought it was interesting.
I got one more news article, and then the rest of them you guys all put in, and I actually don't know much about. Anyways, so Valve announced the Steam Link software or Steam in-home streaming coming to iOS and Android.
Yeah, that's
Bizarre.
really cool. And
Speaking of playing things on the toilet,
it'll be capable of pushing 4K 60 or 4K 30 or whatever. Like
yeah, that's what I
if
hear.
your phone can do that. Like,
My phone
that's-
cannot.
I mean, I guess if your phone can do that and has the hardware to HDMI out, I was actually looking into like streaming mobile games from my phone, my Pixel. Apparently, the Pixels just don't have the hardware in them to put out video over HDMI.
Really?
Yes, I
So
also
you
have a Pixel, and I was disappointed when I couldn't do that.
So I'd have to use the like Twitch app, or Streamlabs has its own like stream direct from the phone, which seems not optimal. Apparently, there's ways to like there's like a dongle that like converts the video signal to like data, and it'll do it that way, but it won't be a video signal at that point. Like it just
Yeah.
this seems cool for phones that can like you can use as a you can plug into your TV.
It would also be good for just like an iPad, probably, if there's certain
Yeah.
iPad games
Yeah.
that have touch support. Like I know all the Civ games are built for touch support,
Mhm.
so I wonder if that would just like work.
Yeah, like not
That'd be
everybody
pretty
wants
cool.
to spend extra money to get it. Like I know I don't like I have certainly had situations just like, oh, I gotta like either to play this, either like play a Jackbox game at a party. I either have to like lug my like 30-pound PC tower around the house to plug into a TV, or like buy it again on my PS4 and just plug that in.
Aha!
So like
I got
I didn't want to
Jackbox
buy
games
it.
on Switch.
So like I did too, because that ended up being the easiest solution. Now I own 3 fucking copies.
It's okay. It's a good game. Give them the money.
Yeah. But like now it's like, yeah, I wouldn't want to buy another, $20 dongle basically to plug into TVs and whatever. So like, because I already have a phone and now I'd be able to just do that. That's cool.
See, I'm really excited about this because I have a little known Razer project called the Forge TV, which was a little Android
Right.
TV box. I've got one collecting dust in my closet because there wasn't much I could do with it when it came out, but it's an Android based console that's got pretty hefty hardware and HDMI out, so I'm hoping that this will work with it pretty
Root
well.
the shit out of that thing,
And I'll have my own basically bootleg Steam Link, but it will also be able to
I
do
imagine
other
you can do
Android
the same.
things.
You could do the same with like an Nvidia Shield.
But it's nice because
So if you could do this to an Nvidia Shield, let's say hypothetically, you could probably do this on a hacked Switch because they're the same chipset.
True. That's what people
That's
were
pretty
talking about when they started doing the Switch hacking. Was can we get Moonlight running on there, which is the Nvidia
Right.
stream
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Android service.
The like emulator package.
Oh man. Real quick, have you ever played Knowledge is Power? Either of you?
Never heard of it.
Oh, which one's that?
Is that like
Nothing. I just no. It's this game that Frothy's obsessed with, but I'm pretty sure he's the only one that loves it.
Is that one of the old
PlayStation created these these games where you can you connect with your phone to the
Oh
PlayStation.
right, okay. Yeah, I
it's,
just
you
googled
have
them
to,
and
like, download
they're
the app.
very British.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know, it's just funny. I like to see him suffer. And anyways.
Because I watched Giant Bomb play these and they looked not great, and then they have like a 71.
Oh, I know what those are.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't play that. Sorry, Frothy.
Speaking of things no one else really knows about, I, believe it or not, like to watch esports from time to time. And one of the esports I've been following is Overwatch. Hey.
Yay!
So Overwatch started their season for their first competitive season where they for the first year, this is their first year doing it, and it's kind of cool because they're taking a really structured approach to it that a lot of other esports teams have games have not. League of Legends sort of kicked off the scene, and I like to think Overwatch is sort of refining it.
Yeah, like League started like an actual league model with like there's a bottom feeder league, and you have to like companies have to buy in a slot, like actually
Right.
invest. And yeah, Overwatch then just like, yo, let's like straight up like, hey, who is it, like the new like the Knicks own, like there's a bunch of like actual sports teams that like own Overwatch teams.
Yeah, exactly. And the Dallas Fuel is owned by some person. I forget who, but I remember reading about that originally too. Maybe they're not. I thought they were. Never mind. Anyways, but yeah, so they're all owned. So they're more like football teams than actual like slots, and like you said about League of Legends. But it's really neat because you can watch every week. They play like 3 days every week, which I feel like is a lot more than normal sports games, but maybe not. I don't.
Baseball is like 6 days a week.
6 days a week.
Yeah.
How many games
Generally.
do they play each day?
One?
Oh, okay. So it's like one match 6 days. Because in the Overwatch they do 3 matches.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well,
be
I mean, a
fair, I
baseball
feel like
game
it's-
can last anywhere between 2 hours. And like this current Jays Red Sox game started at 7 and is currently 10:46 and is still going because they're in extra innings.
mm.
Yeah, as I say, you can get a lot more Overwatch matches in than
Yeah.
a baseball game.
That's true, but they're pretty fast too. It's really interesting to watch too because
It's
if
crazy.
you follow original Overwatch, like you can learn about the meta and stuff. And the meta in the game is always evolving, which is really interesting because they eventually roll patches to the game into the actual competitive scene. So like as they add more heroes or they add more maps, that gets rolled into the competitive map like scene. So you get to see the updates, and like it's cool to see how the professional players play the game that you're playing, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But
That's why I was so into StarCraft.
Right. It's why I was like really like the League of Legends world stuff too. But then League of Legends got so unobtainable to follow to me in a way because they did things at such a high level that like I couldn't relate to it anymore.
And for me, like I stopped being able to relate to League because they did so many like character changes and like.
Right.
For
Yeah,
me,
exactly.
I fell out of League because they changed Trundle's lore.
They did.
Of all things in their big lore update, like they killed, like for example,
They
the
made him
Summoner's
a
Rift, like they changed all their lore, and
Yeah.
like that's why I fell off of the MOBAs because they changed the lore, like of all fucking things.
Yeah.
But yeah, like watching Overwatch evolve and like play at a high level, it's like it's not the same game.
Right.
It's so crazy.
But it's really neat to watch people because it's really neat to watch teams come together because it still has that TF2-esque style where it's like, say you're really good at shooting, that's not going to decide everything, you know?
Yep. You need somebody to be a really good tank. You need somebody to pick, dude. You need a healer. It's actually like it's a lot of the roles in like pro Overwatch are not straight up like MOBA conversions. They've actually like pivoted more towards like a CS, a Counter-Strike sort of role where it's like, yo, you're our entry fragger, which means that when we go into this point, you're the dude who just has to kick the door down and try to like kill at least a dude before you die. So that way everybody else can follow you and pick up the picks. And you're our roamer, so you're gonna just like hover around the back areas and like make sure nobody's flanking us and stuff like that. It's really crazy to watch.
And as they changed how armor works and how like rezzing works with Mercy's big update, that completely changed the whole pick. Yeah, updates. That completely changed the whole pick meta, where it was like if you got a pick, it didn't matter anymore because now they could be rezzed, and so now picks don't matter at all, and it's really about the team fight.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's really interesting. Anyway, so the grand finals is going to be taking place in New York, which is cool. Just because I don't know, it's really interesting that they take up these giant stadiums.
Yeah,
I don't know
like
if people remember,
Dota's been doing that with the international out west.
Like League of Legends was in Madison Square Garden, I think, one year, and all these people outside of it in New York City were just like, I don't know what this is. There's a lot of words here.
And like when ESPN put on, like would broadcast on like ESPN3 or whatever, there's like you saw people on Twitter that were just like sit around and watch ESPN all day, like there's video games on my TV.
Yeah,
which is really funny. Like they're at the Barclays Center, like in Brooklyn. Like holy shit, like
yeah.
It's cool to see this like weird mainstreaming of esports that like still hasn't gone mainstream, but is like big enough to like fill the Barclays Center or the Staples Center.
It's huge in other parts of the world, and I think that's important too.
Like
it's
Korea.
really big in Korea, and it's really big in China.
Korea, you can watch it on TV. There's just multiple TV channels.
Yeah, and I think it's growing in Europe faster probably than it is here, but I don't know.
North America's always been a weird place for esports. Because like it's never had the density of like Europe or Korea to like really foster like one central scene. It's always been like in the fighting game community, it's like, yo, East Coast, NorCal, SoCal. If you're from anywhere else, you're nobody. You don't have a local scene.
The last interesting thing I wanted to say about that is just that the thing I have seen picking up more is university teams in Overwatch.
Yes.
And
Blizzard games.
Esports.
Yeah, and Heroes of the Storm has a Heroes of the Dorm that runs like concurrent with or around March Madness, where it's like you fill out a bracket of all these university teams, and they're all seeded, and it's cool.
I wonder if that's what's going to
players are playing for scholarship
from that into a more professional sport.
And like League of Legends has a feeder league, has a minor league that gets broadcast, and teams can drop down and move up based on performance, just like a soccer league. It's cool. It's come a long way.
Yes,
it sure has, and that's why I wanted to
from like Brood War and Quake and 1.6 and which was just like like before the era of YouTube, like which like is so ubiquitous. But like before, it's like, yo, I want to watch last night's Brood War matches. Okay, so I got to go to this website. I got to download these DivX videos that are like 320 by 240 postage stamps and play them and win out. And it's like, holy shit, this has come so far.
Yeah. It definitely has, especially if you watch any of those older videos where it's like 10 people in a room with a crowd of 10 people cheering. It's pretty funny.
Oh man.
But onto other stories. Super excited. Discount posted this one, but I'm super hyped about it. How much have you played La Mulana Discount?
Beat the game on my Vita, I believe. I didn't beat the Steam version because it came to Vita, and I was like, oh, I should play this here because it's portable. I can play it whenever.
That's really cool.
But
I didn't know it was on the Vita.
Yeah, after like it had a Kickstarter a couple years ago, and then it just kind of like vanished into the ether. La Mulana 2, and I was like a Steam page with an availability date of summer 2018. And God, I'm so excited for this game.
I've been following this game for a long time. It's been in Kickstarter hell forever.
Yeah.
I never played La Mulana.
It's so good, but it's so hard to recommend to anyone because it's so frustratingly like awful.
Vague.
But it's also
What is it?
good.
So
It's a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
All right.
But the main progression is puzzles.
Right. So it's the Dark Souls of Metroidvanias.
Please don't say that.
I know.
Like in a lot of ways, it's actually a surprisingly apt comparison because A, it's really hard, and B, it takes like the Dark Souls vagueness and never explaining anything to like entirely new extremes that you didn't think were possible. Stuff like, yo, how do I get into this next area? There's like a 2-sentence hint on this skeleton in the top corner of the map that vaguely explains maybe how to do this.
Right.
And now I got to go to this one place on this other total part of the map, fall down a bottomless pit, like, and have it loop like 9 times so I can hit with my whip the right pixel on the wall to open the gate to hell. It's like, it's just the whole thing is mysteries wrapped in conundrums. And
so the like key distinction too, what like really sets it apart from other puzzle games is, one, you'll notice that your character is very small on screen. So if you actually click on the store page, Burnout, you can go to like the screenshots and such. So you're really small on screen, so there's a lot of screen to explore. But imagine if you're playing Super Metroid, and every single time you shoot the wall, you get struck by lightning and lose a third of your health. The game actively discourages you
from just hitting walls.
Hitting walls. It's saying you can't brute force these puzzles by just hitting everything and hope it works. But that's only if there's this like eye of vengeance or retribution visible on screen, which most rooms have them if there's a puzzle. So while you're hitting walls, this lightning bolt will just strike you and deal 30 of your health. So you're like, oh, I guess I can't just hit random shit. And that's what really forces you to like read the tablets and try and solve the puzzles.
And there's a really good, and like this game I don't think is beatable by normal people looking up like a guide. Because like it probably it's bizarre is. And like maybe, but like I don't think it would be fun to do it.
No, it wouldn't be fun, that's for sure.
But on Steam, there's a really good guide. That's not a guide; it's just a hint book.
Yes,
so like it's just like, hey, maybe think about this puzzle this way, or go back to that room and try stuff there. And
that's
like
nice.
It's really good. Yes,
really
Frosty,
good
the video is the second one.
Really good speed runs of the first game.
The graphics is not great. I mean, it's got a style and it sticks to it. And
yeah, it looks like an MSX game.
What's really cool to me about the first one, though, is like when you're playing it, it's just so like you can tell how much thought went into the development of it. We've like there's some games you play and you're like, oh, I can really feel the heart of this game. Like when you play Undertale, you really feel like this is a passion project of the creator. When you play Night in the Woods, which we've talked about, you can really tell it's like this is the personal experiences of the creator coming through. When you play La Mulana 1, you can tell how much effort that the people that made it put into the game, because there's just so much like interconnected thoughts and concepts of the ruins. Like the ruins represent all of the gods. Like every pantheon that ever existed exists in the ruins, and it represents like all of this, like all of time.
Stylistically, a lot of it is like the original release of Spelunky.
Yes,
in terms of its style.
Like Spelunky.
Right.
Not the new release of Spelunky has a different art style, but like the original one looks a lot like Mulana because they both look like old MSX side-scrolling adventure games.
That's true. I don't know if I could play the original La Mulana. That looked terrible to me. I looked it up and it was
the
so
original
much worse.
Spelunky. Yeah, it's
no, the original La Mulana.
the very yeah, right, the original.
Yeah, ugh, gross. Anyways, so the game's really cool. I recommend checking it out.
It's $15 on Steam.
Yeah, the way you describe it sounds real similar to like.
It also has a kick-ass soundtrack.
Yes, it does. Music's awesome.
If I
Really
close
good.
my eyes and listen real closely, it sounds like you're describing Cave Story, which is also a fun passion project game
Yes.
that I love. That had a fun art style overhaul and ties right into the segue to our next story.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh my god. So Nicalis, Nicalis? I have no idea how to pronounce this name. So
Nicalis?
So first they announced they're an indie game studio / publisher that was like, hey, we're making a crossover fighting game featuring a bunch of our like characters from games we've made and published. And it's like, hey, here's Isaac from Binding of Isaac, because we made
I know,
the
it's so
updated
weird.
port of that.
Yeah.
And like, here's
Isaac
quote and
Fighting Curly Brace from.
yeah, quote and Curly Brace from Cave Story, and Gunvolt from Azure Striker Gunvolt, and
Yeah.
like
This game looks so
what's her
goofy.
face from Queens of whatever that game's called. And like it looks like a pretty it kind of looks like a Mugen fighting game in that like all the art styles of all the characters are completely different. It's just like, let's just throw them in. But then part of this was like, hey, we're making a fighting game. We're also gonna be, and that's a thing that like Capcom doesn't know how to make a good version of anymore.
Mhm.
So we're also gonna take all these assets and make a puzzle fighter clone.
Oh wait, these are two separate games.
Two
Wow,
separate games, I know.
I
and they're
didn't
both
realize that.
fighting
I thought it was
games
just a
after
puzzle
fashion.
game.
Oh yeah, I just thought
There's
it was
an
the puzzle
actual-
game. I didn't
There's an
realize that-
actual real ass fighting game with all of these characters. in them.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
This is so goofy
knew?
looking. Oh my god.
Yeah. And then this Crystal Crisis is like, hey, we're making Puzzle Fighter because the last one that Capcom made was a pay-to-win mess on mobile that died that literally got canceled 6 months after release.
The art of the Cave Story character looks awesome in the fighting game.
I was just
Yeah.
excited for the puzzle fight. I didn't realize there was an actual fighting game too. That's
And I mean, it makes sense because like the Puzzle Fighter existed because like Capcom was like, we have a cool idea for a puzzle game because falling blocks and whatever, and we'll just reuse all our like Alpha 3 sprites for characters. And they're doing the same thing here.
Gunvolt. Should get
And
around to that.
oh man, like Puzzle Fighter's really good, and like the fact that like, hey, here's a weird crossover featuring all these indie game characters and also Astro Boy.
yeah. Where did
Yeah.
Astro Boy come from?
Somehow we have the license to Astro Boy and Blackjack, two like OG greatest of all time anime characters, are in our weird indie puzzle fighter game.
I mean, hey, if you got the license, use it.
Like I don't understand how this, like I understand how you can make like a crossover fighting game featuring characters you have the rights to because you're a publisher.
Mhm.
I don't understand where you get the rights to Astro Boy from.
Maybe they made an Astro Boy game that.
And like Johnny Turbo's in this, and he's a comic book character NEC made to promote the Turbo graphics. Like
Who is Blackjack? What is that one from?
he's a manga character made by the guy who created Astro Boy, or shit, what's his name in Japanese? It's completely different. I'm forgetting.
What the heck?
I don't know. Everyone just-
Blackjack. What?
Oh, Mighty Atom is Astro Boy's original name.
Oh yeah, and Froth is confused by the Switch exclusivity, but really, well,
It's a
Froth is just-
$40 puzzle game, so
You should just get a Switch and
Yeah.
accept that.
accept that all the
superior
good puzzle
console.
games are there.
Or Frothy. The lack of Switch ownership.
I'm surprised he hasn't got one because Puyo Puyo. I mean, I think Puyo Puyo Tetris is now out on Steam, but
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these games do end up coming out cross-platform, but the Switch is really just like the indie haven right now. That's where everybody's putting out all of
it's
the
a very
best
it's
indie titles.
it's the safest bet you can get for an indie title. Also, there's a link to the Blackjack manga.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. Confusing. He's a doctor.
It's
Seems
one
weird.
of the. I mean, it's by the guy who made Astro Boy, who's like him at like Blackjack and Astro Boy or Mighty Atom in Japan are like the two of the founding pillars of anime.
Yes, I do know that about Astro Boy.
Yeah, but like Blackjack did this is like the same thing for like manga and then his eventual video adaptations. They're
Yeah.
like, which is why I'm like blown away that they're in this fucking puzzle fighter game.
So weird.
Like I'm excited.
Um,
Puzzle Fighter's cool.
Yeah, I want to check this out.
I want to know who the Dan equivalent is. Oh, holy shit! My Blue Jays just hit a walk-off home run.
Yeah, light up cup.
Woo!
Woo!
Ooh, lights.
Luke Maley, our backup catcher, is hitting like a fucking MVP. It's
That's
a
video
two-run home run.
games.
Yeah.
Let me know when there's an esports baseball league.
I mean, there's an esports NBA 2K league, so
Oh my god. Never mind. I don't want
which I think I talked about on like the first episode of the FUNCAST.
Our last piece of news, before we get to the new list of not news, but the last piece of news is actually a correction of a previous statement we made on the FUNCAST. We had claimed previously that the Konami was in a death spiral because it really seemed like they were losing, at least the games.
They weren't making games anymore.
Yeah, they were down to like 3 games, 4 games.
It turns out that I was wrong, mostly because it seems like a lot of the stuff is mobile games that then also don't come to the West. They've turned almost entirely inward on their Japanese to the Japanese market on their game development, and
But
so
it's
like
working.
they posted their 2018 fiscal year earnings report, and they're making a lot of money. Like they're up year over year on profit.
They're up
They are up-
24.3% year over year.
They are up 17.6% profit, up 17.6% in profit after taxes. 30.5 billion yen in profit last year.
Pretty crazy.
And then, it goes into, there's like a breakdown of their business segments. Digital entertainment, which is their video games, most of which I think is mobile, made 120 billion yen in revenue last year, which is like half of all the money they made was mobile games. And there's like amusement gaming systems, and then because every Japanese company has to own like 1 million of them health and fitness clubs.
Right.
Made up they made up like a third of their earnings.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and like a lot of these I've never heard of. Like I've heard of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Like that's a pretty popular mobile game. I think there's actually a version of it on Steam. It's like a 3-card version of Yu-Gi-Oh! That's also a free-to-play mobile game. Then like they have a statement here. It's like, in terms of mobile games, the digital entertainment segment, we released 2 titles of Tokimeki Idol and Quiz Magic Academy Lost Fantarium. This is in all caps because Japanese titling is amazing.
Academy.
In the domestic period, then they released something called Jikyo Powaforu Puruyaku, Professional Baseball Spirits A Ace. Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game continues to make money. They don't mention the sales of Metal Gear Survive. They say that as for computer and video games, the spin-off title for the Metal Gear series, Metal Gear Survive, was released during the 3-month period. Winning 11 2018, known overseas as Pro Evolution Soccer, also continued to enjoy stable performance.
Metal Gear Survive. It was a game
Soccer
released.
that was our story though. Soccer.
They lost
eventually.
they're not. Yeah. So, and the fact that they say it continues to enjoy stable performance, I think if you're a company seeking profit growth, stable performance isn't exactly what you're looking for. Like then they mentioned like favorable reviews for GQ Powerful Pro Baseball for PS4 and PS Vita, which just did not come out to the West, and they're excited about the upcoming release of Super Bomberman R, which like good luck, guys. Also, they're apparently still working on that like Zone of the Enders 2 remake that's supposed to come out in September, but like fucking I don't know. Point is, Konami's not dead. They're just making mobile games for the Japanese market and making money doing so.
That's cool, I guess.
Oh, Konami.
I don't know.
Never change. Become a weird corporate blob.
Why aren't you licensing like fucking Silent Hill to somebody, or like Castlevania?
No, those games are fun. That's not the future. Speaking of the future.
The future, yeah. This is real cool. This is just like, I mean, there's a lot of other like news in the last like week and a half of like E3 stuff.
Even that is like it's redundant because it's just going to be covered at E3. So I
Yeah,
figured,
or it's like rumors, and it's like there's some neat stuff like the Bethesda Rage 2 teasers, which got like super explicit of just like here's a Rage character waiting for a subway.
yeah, but
But,
Rage
like,
2.
Rage 2, that's a weird. I played. Anyway, that's a game that existed.
But
but-
this article,
Yeah, this one's just for fun. I
This.
think it's cool. From a motherboard at Vice, AI can generate Doom levels now, and it's about an AI that self-learning AI that makes Doom levels, and they look cool.
does it play them too?
I
I mean, it
I
probably
don't know.
trains on them, right? Probably trains itself on them.
So basically, it's making levels from like a data set of like 1,000 Doom levels from like classic Doom, and
Uh-huh.
it's like identifying like the variables like on like heat maps and whatever of like playthroughs of the levels of like, hey, this is a good segment. Why does this work? And like generating new levels off of that. And like
Oh,
it's
it does
doing
play
stuff.
its own level,
Yeah,
so
and it's
that is
doing
how
and
it
it's doing
maps.
stuff like like analyzing how many objects should be in a room and like how much ceiling space there should be and you know how many doors and like it's really cool. Yeah, like that part of the video where like heat mapping out Doom levels and like
Huh.
analyzing. It's really cool.
They were saying at the very end of this article that you could use this task to generate like non-playable characters,
Yeah.
like non-playable character sprites. I don't know why it references sprites specifically. Maybe
Well,
I
I don't
don't
know.
understand how the proofing works. I mean, what kind of makes sense about a Doom level is then you can have it play it, and if it beats it, then you know it worked. But
Yeah.
yeah. AI is interesting
Yeah,
because it's
and, like-
what's hard about this stuff is your heuristics or your metrics. So
Mhm.
if you generate a pattern, how do you prove that it's good? How do you prove
Yeah,
that?
and like how is this a good how do you know what a good level is? Right? Especially
Right,
for like a map. Like it's a first person shooter. There've been AIs that have like learned to play Mario or whatever. But like
yeah,
building a map is like not the same as learning to play a map. They're
Mhm.
like two completely different skill sets, and like map making is super hard.
yeah,
And like Doom maps, while simple, because they're simple, they're hard to make really good. They're
Mhm.
very easy to fuck up.
what I'm watching here, it does have interesting geometry, which is surprising.
Yeah, there's a lot of like weird open rooms, but like there are a lot of weird open rooms in original Doom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's these alcoves with like
Yeah.
pointy corners, that's the part that's surprising to me.
It's weird, like it's weird
Surprised
non
that a computer didn't just make a
and,
bunch of
like,
squares.
it
Yeah,
seems like
this
it's
room looks
making
nice.
seems like it's making like side rooms that would have ammo in them and then putting anything in them.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting. Or like, yeah, like on the video here, it's like this weird corner that has a secret in it.
Mhm.
Like, oh yeah, and it marks the secret area with those pillars, which I think is pretty smart because the original Doom did that a lot.
Hmm.
Like it's super interesting, and like the original Doom is such a fucking masterpiece that like something like this is like absolutely a valuable tool for like machine learning.
Yeah,
Like, is a
I mean, what they were
testament to
claiming
how
is that-
how good this game is.
that you could design, level, like high level concepts.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Or
You
like
could-
rapid prototype a level, basically.
Well, yeah, you could design the high level concepts, and then you would have it design the actual, spaces in between them.
Mhm.
But I will say, I mean, games have been doing this for a long time. With,
Yeah. It's just-
bad
this is-
success. Like,
yeah.
what was it called?
Like obviously, like seeded generation and procedural generation is sort of related.
Did
but,
you ever
like,
play Elder Scrolls 2?
Yes,
I think people complain
Arena.
about that a lot, where there's like just a
Daggerfall.
ton of empty junk in that game
Mhm.
because
Well,
they just
yeah, that one is
generated
because
it all.
it's generated from it's procedurally generated from a seed, so there's a lot of just empty space because it was like 1995 and you couldn't do that.
right.
But like this is like cool because it's it's building the level. It's not just procedurally generating it from a seed. It's like learning how to make stuff. That's super cool.
Right. And yeah, I mean, that's what's interesting. Visit our website for Discord details. Yes, our Discord details are on our website. I forgot that we could do little Twitch commands. We should probably set those up at some
Yes,
point.
Yeah.
Plug a bot in.
Yeah, I need to set up a bot or something.
Yeah. So yeah.
Also, Android related. Do you
Yes.
do you enjoy the future where the AI will eventually even automate your job away? game developer.
Yeah.
They'll just spin up the AWS instance and they'll shit out like 9 games.
I'm worried about the future in which developers think that will be worth something because everything it generates will be crap, and the
I don't
users
know.
will know it's crap.
Eventually, I mean, if mobile games still exist in this dark AI-driven future, that'll probably just make like literally there will be a non-stop stream of new mobile games on your iOS or Android device, and one of them will have to be good.
Did you see that thing about the Google AI assistant making calls for you?
Yes,
I posted it in one of the things. That was
What
really
the
creepy.
fuck? That's,
AI is
that's-
getting too
oh.
good.
as long as we're
That's
ranting about the future.
like
Yeah.
that's creepy because it's the future and it's robots, but then like there's the Amazon thing of let the Amazon people just go into your house to leave the package in your house.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah.
And like that's weird. That's like scary in the other direction where it's like that's way too personal. Please don't come into my house.
So in my lovely city of San Diego, speaking of robots
I
taking
saw
over,
this.
Uber's gonna start doing food delivery by drone
Oh,
to my
nice.
house,
God.
and I can't wait
Perfect.
to try this out.
Oh
We're
my
getting one
god.
step closer to Wally. Now you just need a moving chair.
I just need a hover chair.
Yeah.
Order something that like so like is Uber like processing these at all? Is there a person packing the drone?
Well, I would
Because
assume
like
they've
not
already got
every
their Uber
restaurant-
Eats thing.
because like not every restaurant that's like on Uber Eats is gonna have like standardized packaging, right?
So I assume there's got to be some sort of standardized container on the drone that they can
Is
just.
there just gonna be some dude at like a Jack in the Box holding a delivery bag, takeout bag out the fucking like drive-through window for a drone to pick up? For
They gotta like clip it on, like little hanger.
oh shit! I forgot to put the lid on the dipping sauce. Now everything's just a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine
Glued to
it
your
flying
house.
away? It just spills out immediately on the floor, but the drone doesn't realize, so it just keeps going.
Or like whatever it's grabbing, the bag's gonna tear. It's gonna be spilling French fries all over the place.
Yeah, it gets to you. It's just covered in bird shit. And you're like, thanks, Uber.
But I mean, being real, I'm sure they're still gonna have humans packing the drone and then sending
Probably,
it off.
but oh my god, this is.
But the future, it's now.
What is
Yeah.
in the water in the West Coast? All you fucking weirdos with your app marketplace.
Yeah. So I think that ends this episode of the
On
FUNCAST.
that horrifying dystopia future.
I'm gonna order some food right now from Uber drone.
Good
Yeah,
job.
delivered straight to my mouth. Hopefully it chews it for
God.
me. It just blended right in.
Like who pays for the damage if the drone flies and like hits your house? What the like just
Well, they do. That's the thing
Yeah,
that's gonna
Uber
start
does.
coming up.
ugh.
Uber has to. But yeah, so next episode we'll hopefully return to our normal time on Tuesdays.
Tuesday.
Sorry.
We'll try and keep to that if we can. You know, we're still trying to figure out the kinks of the scheduling. I mean, getting 3 people together that live in completely different time zones is a little difficult.
It's just me. I'm the only one that's different.
I was trying to give you an out.
Nope.
You're
Not
the,
taking
only,
it.
you're the only unique one.
But yeah, back to Tuesday.
Look.
And then
Hold on. I'm gonna pull up one more thing before we shut down the stream.
Uh-oh.
The reason I wasn't
Okay.
here on Tuesday, also because San Diego, best city on pictures load,
as proven by drones.
as proven by
Drone
drones
food
delivering burritos and this cool thing called the red tide that only happens every like 5 years, and
Oh, right,
the
I
waves
saw
in
that.
San
that's right, I saw
Diego
this.
are just fluorescent blue.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
So
Man,
It's
when
like the Aurora Borealis of the sea.
it is, and it's cool that I got to catch it this year. But
I'm pretty sure I visited this zone in Pillars of Eternity 2 earlier in the week.
Did it look really cool in person?
Yes, it's a little less impressive in person. These are like long exposures to
Oh,
really
yeah,
get the
and,
color.
Like
But it's cool,
saturated
like-
photos.
Right when the wave breaks, it's just the whole wave lights up for a second blue.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, that's
And then there's a
awesome.
little bit of a trail as it goes on. It's pretty cool.
That's really
So
cool.
I left to go do that when we were supposed to be doing the podcast because I don't want to miss
I
it.
guess that's okay.
This event is unpredictable. They never know how long it's going to last or the next time it's going to happen.
Well, if it happens again next Tuesday, You should
Well-
invite us and film it.
I mean, I'm good for the next 5 years. When it happens again, maybe in like 2026, I'll go and see it again.
All right, so FUNCAST episode 100, like we said before. Or
Yes.
I might miss it.
I might miss.
Spoiler alert.
Right. All right, cool. Well, thank you for watching. Tuesday at 9 is when we try to do it. And if you want to
9 Eastern,
previous FUNcasts,
6
we
Pacific.
have a SoundCloud, which we have posted all our previous FUNcasts.
That'd be
We have a
6
YouTube
a.m.
where we're throwing up some of these videos as we go. And we have a Twitter, which we will also post out. What is the Twitter? Link to the Twitter.
Is it just at FUN-GINEERS? Or
Is it
no,
the
it's
FUN-GINEERS one? Or do we have our own FUNcast Twitter?
No, there's a FUN-GINEERS one, and it's
at
fun
FUN_GINEERS.
Gineers. Sorry, I knew there was something. I want to make sure it was the right punctuation.
FUNGINEERS.net, where you can find everything the FUN-GINEERS output.
The easiest
Yes,
is
the actual website is
Go to our
at
website.
FUNGINEERS.net.
everything you need is there. You can go there and look up all of the things for our communities. Here's our
Made
website.
by our wonderful Frothy.
Our wonderful Frothy.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, this week's retro game's up. By what? By
Oh, what's the game?
Bio.
New blog post from FUN-GINEER Biohazard, who plays retro
the
games
game?
every week. It's Super
It's
Bonk.
Bonk. Super
no,
Bonk.
this is- Sorry, this is last week's. I've already read this one.
Oh, I didn't read this one yet.
Oh, fuck,
That's right.
man.
He posts a bunch of cool stuff. I recommend reading it. It's good.
Yes.
Super Bonk's cool.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you in
Stay
4 days.
Fun.
Yeah. Keep it fun. Funtastic.
That's a good outro, right?
Fun. Thunder.
Thundercats. Oh.
And
Ugh.
goodbye.